We're living in a very weird time and a very weird age right now. And let me go ahead and give you the best analogy or comparison that I can here. Imagine you're at a car lot. And imagine that, for example, you've bought 8 or 9 cars. And you've gotten to a point here where you don't buy any more lemons. You don't buy anything that is pushed on you by the salespeople, and you don't overpay. Those are really the 3 things that you want to look out for most. You don't want to buy a car that isn't actually a car. You don't want to buy something that's been foisted on you by the salesperson as opposed to what actually suits your needs. And thirdly, you don't want to overpay. Even if you do find the right car, you don't want to overpay. Now, imagine, if you will, that you're on the car lot there and you're there with a bunch of young college girls. You're there with some Amish people who've never seen a car before. You're there with some drunks or drug addicts. They're all milling around the car lot, and it's their first time ever buying a car, or their second time if they're lucky. Can you imagine how bad that's going to go? Can you imagine how bad that's going to be? These people don't know what the hell they're doing. And it's so obvious they don't know what the hell they're doing. Now imagine you see those people there, and there's the salesman brings out a 1994 Toyota Camry, and it's got chip paint on it. And these folks, the salesman's getting ready to sell it to them for $15,000. Now, even if these folks don't have any transportation, even if they don't have a car, this, that, and the other, the salesman comes up to them and says he's going to sell them a 30-year-old car for $15,000. Now, imagine, if you will, that these people sit up here and gladly buy this car at a 10% interest rate. And then when those people leave the car lot, their friends at home, their friends at their job, their so-called friends on social media are sitting there congratulating them. They're sitting there congratulating them. Imagine that. Imagine such a thing. Imagine it. That's what they did. By the way, in the chat room, Chevalier0427, we're going to have you call up here in just a little bit. We're going to have you call up here in just a little bit. So don't worry about him. Imagine, if you will, that somebody sits up here and they do that, and folks are congratulating them. Imagine that. That you can see such a terrible proposition, such a terrible negotiation, and folks are congratulating them. Do you realize that issue? Do you realize that? That's the thing I want you to understand. I want you to understand that. We live in a day and a time where people are telling men, are encouraging men, badgering men to overpay. That's the thing I want you to understand. They're badgering them to overpay. Do you understand what the hell that does? This is what men are being told today. Now imagine if you are somebody in that position. Imagine if you're somebody in that position, and what they're telling you is that as a man, you can do all these things. You can go off and you can become extraordinary. Not an ordinary dude, not an average dude. You can become extraordinary And you're supposed to just take, well, whatever gets slopped off at you. There's the issue. Jason, what is the problem here? I'll tell you what the problem is. There are two major issues here. On social media, the problem is you have individuals who, and no offense, but they're failures in life, they're failures as people. They don't excel at anything. So when they look at the rest of the world, they see the world through their lens of underachievement. So they take a look at people who are doing hundreds of millions of dollars or have changed the world, and they compare them to themselves when there's no comparison. Ashanti is 43 years old. Now, here's the issue that we run into, and I am going to be as diplomatic about this as I can. But the bottom line is Ashanti is 43 years old. 43. 43. Will someone please explain to me what is the runway? What is the investment benefit? How much investment do you put into a 43-year-old who, by the way, I went and got pictures that show her looking the way, not those Photoshop pictures on Instagram. And let me tell you something. We don't need AI. Most males today, can we just call it what it is? Most males today are in the blow-up doll era. Yeah, I said it. They're members of the blow-up doll era. They sit up here and rub themselves while looking at pictures on Instagram. They don't care if the picture is real. They don't care if the picture is fake. They don't care if the picture is obviously airbrushed. They've been playing video games so long that they really have this unhealthy perspective on the world. Nothing is real. And they will sit here. Now listen, here's the point. If you want to know why it is that OnlyFans is popping, it's because most males are so dog thirsty, dehydrated, and desperate that they will pay top dollar for something that is fake. You can walk up to them, show them it's fake. Hell, you can even tell them it's fake. Most of them, they don't have anything to offer, so they're perfectly fine with it. Buck-toothed, bug-eyed, looking around silly and crazy. I'll take it. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that the jackass is sitting up here trying to congratulate that. The issue is he ain't gonna do anything for Ashanti. What? But he's not. The guys who sit on Instagram, every single one of them, down to a man, held down to a woman, but down to the dudes who do it, they are broke, they're unaccomplished, they don't excel at anything. They're Joe Lunch Pail. They would lay on top of Ashanti as quickly as they would lay on top of Lizzo. They don't have standards. They can't afford to have standards. So they're projecting their failed life onto everyone else. This is why when you talk as black men, when we start talking about who the so-called sexy women are, you talk about chicks in the damn 40s and 50s. Everybody else gets to talk about somebody who is at least young and in their prime. The black men have to sit up here with the deadbeats sitting around us, talking about 20 and 30-year-old retreads. I'm not downing nobody. I'm not dissing anybody. What I'm saying is that if you are such an ignoramus as a male, if you're such a failed individual that you think a 43-year-old is just as prime real estate as a 23-year-old, dude, you got serious problems. You got real serious problems. You need to get some psychiatric evaluation. You got serious problems. If you all think that being an underachiever is harmless, just understand that these guys will take anything and then they'll come out and fight to the death to defend that. A size 20 has the same value to them as a size 6. And we are inundated with this demented, idiotic, underachieving, sub-mediocre class. I'm not dissing nothing. I'm telling you that if you're telling, you wouldn't sit up here and say that a 20-year-old car has the same value. A 20-year-old Toyota RAV4 has the same value as a brand new RAV4. You wouldn't say that. If you did, you're too stupid to talk to other human beings. How can you sit up here and say that Ashanti's got the same value? I'm not talking about her value as a human being. I am referring to her value as, by the way, how much do you extend yourself for a 43-year-old who, when you take a look at the non-Photoshop pictures, yeah, you have to stop acting like a prepubescent middle school jackass. That's the issue. That's number one. But here's issue number two. And in many ways, this is more damning. I want to show you a timeline and understand something for the dumb and degenerate. It won't make any difference for them, which is perfectly fine. They're not doing anything anyway. Entertainment Tonight, they have a timeline of Ashanti-Nelly. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. Now, what they tell you here is Ashanti is 43, Nelly is 49. He's almost 50. Met her 20 years ago. Met her 20 years ago, January 2003. That was when they first met. She said, the first time I met Nelly, he asked me for my autograph. So in other words, she's saying that she was a star and he was, all right. I was thinking he was being sarcastic, and I remember writing it down on the program. 2005 to 2006, denials and frequent spottings. Although the two denied reports they were seeing each other, Nelly was front and center at Ashanti's 25th birthday. She was there also celebrating with Nelly when he turned 31. Ashanti even brought Nelly as her date to the premiere of John Tucker Must Die in July 2006. A coy tease 2008, 5 years later. Quote, me and Nelly, we're good friends. We just kick it, hang out a lot. 5 years later. All right. That means there's a female in her 20s. She's like, I got all my options available. I ain't got to worry about any of that. I ain't got to worry about that. Doesn't bother me. I'm okay. Oh, yeah. One more thing. Her 25th birthday in October of 2005, she was 25. 2005, she was 25. 2008, 3 years later, now she would be 28. She would be 28 and she's still talking about kicking it. And when asked if there was a chance the pair would get hitched, Ashanti denied the rumors but didn't discard the idea entirely. Oh no, no engagement, she said before coyly adding, but definitely in the future. So in other words, when she gets ready, we gonna do that. The next year, a rumored breakup and the music video. So by now she's 29. August 2009, the New York Daily News reported that the couple had split after 6 years together. Per the outlet, an insider reported that Ashanti, quote, was ready to settle down with the rapper while he wanted to sow his wild oats. Not sure we can count on that one as reliable, but if you do, what was it that Nelly saw that told him, yeah, not you? A few months later in December, the pair appeared together in Nelly's Body on Me music video. The video features the pair getting flirty and dancing with each other as Nelly raps, I want to make you something more than just a bone in my closet. I want to win that type of relationship. All right. 2010. She was 30 years old. 2010, 30. After their rumored breakup, Ashanti and Nelly raised speculation they had gotten back together when they were spotted holding hands at T.I. and Tiny's wedding in August 2010. But in an interview with Complex in October of that year, Nelly shut down rumors of there being a relationship to begin with. Quote, we never admitted that we were together or back together or separated, but we heard that, he said. Only thing we ever said was, we friends, and it's the same way now. This is 7 years after they met. 7 years after they met. 7. He reiterated that statement during an interview with Wrap Up TV 2 months later, sharing, quote, while they enjoy each other's company, he and Ashanti are just friends. Okay. What people don't understand is that I think you really have to be friends first. That's the thing. It's not about how long it takes. There's no time limit on this, the rapper explained. I'm not a person who wants to be married more than once. I'm not a person who wants to be in a relationship more than once. You're dying if you leave me. How many kids Nelly got? All right. When the interviewer asked if that meant marriage could be in the cards for him and Ashanti one day, Nelly replied that that wasn't where either of the artists' focus was then. Right now, we're friends. I'm married to my work. What? I'm married to getting things in a certain situation right now, and she's married to getting things in a certain situation right now. Oh, so she's trying to get her bag together. Okay. 2013, 10 years later. Things seemingly ended for good between Ashanti and Nelly in 2013. Quote, it's a very small industry. Are we going to see each other? Yeah. I'm not bitter, she said. I feel like in a relationship, it's like ping pong. Sometimes you love them, sometimes you hate them. That's a real statement. Everyone goes through that. She went out here and went to the other side of the tracks and thought she'd be cute and this would be great and everything here. You take a look at that silly ass grin on your face and whatnot. Obvious mismatch, but oh well, let me see if I can try that. This will be fun. I want to get some of that thought girl energy. Well, she certainly did. She certainly did that now, didn't she? You just thought I'd go ahead and throw that out there. 10 years after they originally met, by the way. 10 years later. 2015, an official confirmation of the breakup. Oh, this doesn't go well. During an appearance on the Meredith Vieira show in March 2015, Ashanti confirmed that she and Nelly had split due to a lack of trust in their relationship. What does that mean? Quote, I think sometimes when people have their own insecurities, it allows them to act out of character, she said. I've been betrayed. She kicking dirt on your name, my dude. You just have to grow. You have to grow up. You have to accept responsibility for the things that you do. I'm not a big fan of people being cowards. You think she's talking about herself? Or do you think she's kicking dirt on him? As if you couldn't see what the hell he was when you met him, by the way. As if you couldn't see what the hell she was when you met her. When you met him, as if it was some big secret. She added, I think it's really important to know yourself and understand what you want to get. I'm in a different place right now. 2021, it was the reunion that sparked 1,000 rumors and memes for the first time since their breakup, Ashanti and Nelly. This during the pandemic, by the way. So there's some social pressure on you. Ashanti and Nelly publicly reunited while performing with Ja Rule and Fat Joe during their versus battle. Oh. I've got a picture of Ashanti with Ja Rule, as a matter of fact. Where in the world is it? There it is. Oh, there you go. All right, 20 years later, y'all. 20 years later. During Instagram Live, Ashanti explained that she and Nelly didn't intentionally meet to reunite that day. I had no idea he was going to be there. And I haven't seen him or spoken to him since we broke up. 6 years or something, so I didn't know what to expect. She said, adding that their unexpected meeting was nothing but positive. All right. She continued sharing Nelly's reaction. I seen his eyes get big and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what to expect. It was positive. December 2022. And then 2023. 20 years later. Here's my point. My point is, did this really take 20 years, or was Ashanti stiff-arming people and saying, hey, I got I'm hot girl and this, that, and the other. I mean, take a look all these decades later. The only thing idiots talk about on her, ooh, Ashanti look good. And she went streaking past middle age. She look good. Same old stuff. They will not quit. They will not stop. Don't she look good? Doesn't she look photoshopped? I don't care. Blow up doll. Team blow up doll. Okay. Cankles don't bother me. No disrespect. No disrespect. I'm just saying, the folks sitting up here talking the most, it's really embarrassing. These are grown males, allegedly, who apparently have been mentally and emotionally stunted and retarded. It's embarrassing. And they'll be the loudest ones screaming, and that tells you something. They're the loudest ones defending that. And what I'm saying is, if you sitting up here and you are so mentally and emotionally deficient and deranged that you are telling me that what you see on your screen here is no different than what you saw 20 years ago, why don't you just tell the truth? You are so desperate and starved for any sort of sexual options, you'll just take whatever in the world fat back they flop up on the table at you. Just say that, be honest with it, and leave it there. You're the guy who pays $15,000 for a 30-year-old Camry. Oh, we gonna talk about Dubai in a minute. Oh, I ain't forgot about Dubai. We gonna talk about Ashanti and Dubai. Oh, we gonna get to that. Because a chick don't hook up with Nelly without knowing what the hell she getting with. And they think it's fun, and they think it's cute. And then 20 damn years later, she's hoping that there's a fertility clinic that can help resurrect those ovaries. That's what the hell they do. And in reality, it's embarrassing, but what's more embarrassing is the absolutely shameless group of males. I gotta put this in the lap of the fellas. Now, when you take a look at these videos here, when they shot this thing here, they made sure not to show them they got her in that car so it doesn't show you the bottoms of them arms. I'm not dissing nobody. I'm just saying they making sure they don't show you. They ain't showing you the bottoms of them arms. They're not doing that. They're cutting that off. The car's door is in the way. Not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying, by the way, if you gonna get stoked about something, shouldn't you get stoked about something that's real? Shouldn't you actually be getting stoked about what you actually see? But maybe there's the problem. Maybe the problem is there's so many guys out here today. I mean, that's what it is. That the world has pretty much lost males who have manhood and thus options. Anything you slop at them, they'll accept it. Hell, they'll accept it enthusiastically. They'll defend it. They'll argue for it. They'll make complete asses of themselves in comment sections, internet, and everything else. They'll do that. And this is where we are today. This is where we are. This is where we are. We there. We're there. Welcome to the world. Welcome to the world. When you don't have standards, that's what you end up doing. You end up becoming this really weird, bizarre, strange caricature of an individual there, and you make an ass of yourself. There's the real problem. You just become this really strange, weird, bizarre person. Real weird, real strange, real bizarre. Let me go ahead and show you something else here. Now, what I want to do, as I told you all, I didn't bring receipts. I brought invoices. I did not bring receipts. I brought invoices. I didn't tell you what you pay. I tell you what you owe. Oh, take a look at this. The confirmation that you'll receive absolutely nowhere else. Oh, I don't bring you receipts, I bring you invoices. Remember when I showed you this timeline before? Remember when I showed you this timeline before and I told you don't believe what Ashanti is telling you, don't believe what she's saying. So remember, after all those years, 12 years after they originally met, an official confirmation of their breakup, 2015. That date is important. Jason, why? Because this is what she had posted the previous year on her Instagram.
Damn!
Well, this is Ashanti on her Instagram 2014. So when you take a look at the timeline, 2013, a rumored official breakup in 2013. 2014, Ashanti is in Dubai talking about what happens in Dubai stays in Dubai. 2015, an official confirmation of the breakup. Now all of you sap-ass, dumbass idiots and morons who are trying to argue with me and trying to pretend that it was something different than what I said, now I've brought you the documented evidence. You can't, are you going to argue with Ashanti's Instagram? Are you going to argue with that now? You're going to argue with that? I showed you the timeline. It's confirmed. 2013, they rumored to break up. 2014, I'm pretty sure, yeah, then that's a done deal. 2015, she's trying to figure out, is there an Arab who's willing to pay for a condominium somewhere?
Auntie, chill.
Let me guess. The slow bus kids and the short bus kids in the back of the classroom chewing their toenails and licking the bottoms of their sneakers, they gonna come back in here reeking and smelling of failure and lead pipes and tell the rest of us, oh, this doesn't matter. Everything's fine. This don't matter. Everybody go to Dubai. This don't matter. By the way, nice hair there, Ashanti. Yeah, those numbers come together. Now, would anybody like to venture a guess what she was doing in Dubai? Well, obviously, whatever it was didn't work out because, yeah, she back over here. Whatever it was and whatever she did, it didn't work out. Although it kind of didn't work out for more than one person. Because holy old Nelly, all he's really showing is, oh well, he's hanging around, he's getting old, he's getting tired, he's worn down. Dude, you've been dipping with her for the better part of 20 years. Why do you have to marry her? Okay, let's try this a different way. What is the extra added value benefit of marrying her at this point? Why do you have to do that? And I submit to you all that dudes like Nelly, they get old. Contrary to popular belief, that false bravado, they get old. They get simpish. Things don't pop like they used to. And they just settle. They tell themselves, well, better the devil you know. And they just settle. And the bottom line is, that's what you're seeing. The math here doesn't work out. They just settle. If you all agree that this is really the product of settling, this is not the product of strategy, this is the product of, oh well, praying mantis strategy. Hey, Nelly, you still single? So am I. There's a pandemic. Why don't we get together? If you agree that that's most likely what it was, give me, and what it is, give me the green check mark emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 2,000 people in here live. If you agree that it's just an old nigga who just got tired and career ain't popping like it was, and we got to go sell our catalog, and Hey, let me go find a cool chick I know and surely I can trust her after 2 decades. Oh, really? Oh, really now? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about it? Are you? Maybe you haven't asked enough questions. Maybe you need to ask a few more questions. Because I did. If you'll notice in most of these articles, it's talking about Ashanti announces she's pregnant with her first child plus engaged. Most of the articles show it like that. She said, I'm pregnant. Oh, yeah. And I'm engaged. I'm pregnant. Yeah. And I'm engaged. You go to Entertainment Tonight and you take a look at the headline. It's different over there. They have it as Ashanti-Nelly are engaged and expecting their first child together, even though the rumors about her being pregnant are months along now. But she says she's pregnant with her first child plus engaged. I'm pregnant and engaged. Well, Jason, why are you trying to make a mess of it here? That's not a chronological thing. Okay, well, according to the Shade Room, it is. They got the video of her saying she's pregnant before the interview with Essence talking about she has a fiance. Not good enough for you? I can go a little bit further into it. Here is the quote from Essence when she talked to them. And take a look on your screens for everybody here who thinks that Nelly didn't walk off into a chainsaw. She said, "This new year of my life is such a blessing full of love, hope, and anticipation. Motherhood is something that I have looked forward to, and sharing this with my family, fiance, and loyal fans, damn, who have been supportive of my career is an amazing experience. This ain't nothing to fool with." When she talked to them right now, she said, "This new year has been so full of blessings. Motherhood is something I've looked forward to, and sharing this with my family first, fiance, you know, the father of the child, unless he's not the dad, paging Maury Povich, and loyal fans." Okay, let me just find out, who is the jackass idiot here who is ignoring that and saying that you don't see what that clearly says, that she's letting you know that she sees the child she's got as separate and her child and her mama and her blood relatives as separate and apart from the dude who got her pregnant. Who's sitting here arguing with it now that you've read it in her own words when she says motherhood is something I've looked forward to and sharing this with my family, fiance, and loyal fans? Okay, how many of you are going to sit up here and argue and say, oh, well, that doesn't mean anything either? So all this evidence I've shown you, everything I just pointed out to you, kicking it in Dubai, and the result of that, everything I said here, and now you've read it in her own words that she's talking about motherhood, she's talking about her family, she's talking about what that is, and the fiance is a footnote. He's not the first thing she mentions. She mentions motherhood. She came to get a baby from a guy who was willing to put himself over a barrel because he's living in nostalgia. He cashed out his catalog for what, $50 million after taxes? You'll have $25 million. He's still running around doing shows, whether people show up or not. And his career has still got more life in it than hers. Her Instagram is popping. Career, not so much for music. Okay, who out there who is worth more than $2 million is checking for Ashanti at 43 years old? I don't give a damn how big of a fan you are back from the Death Row Records era. This isn't about are you a fan of music or are you a feckless, shameless, clueless, idiot fanboy or fangirl. We're talking about mathematics and facts right now. What man who is worth more than $2 million is checking for Ashanti to make a permanent legally binding commitment to her. If you think she got a wealth of options, tell me who is. Who is? She already tried everything. She already been through the industry. She don't want to go through that body count. I don't know why people sit up here and lie their asses off and try to act like that. No, I meant what I said. Death Row Records. That's exactly what I meant. Some moron always wants to try to. I meant what I said. Death Row Records. I said what I meant. I said what I meant. I am not giving a statement on what record label she was signed to. Catch up, please. You want to talk about defunct entities? That was it. Can we just be honest? Ashanti was a 1.5 hit wonder. Not dissing nothing. That's how most folk in the music business turn out. It is what it is. Who makes, show me a man today who's clocking more than $2 million who is looking to make a commitment to her. Answer, zero. Nobody. Nobody. And it's 20 years later. And fellas, this is what I meant. I tried to teach you all this in the dark arts of game when I said that when men have nostalgia, they don't see a woman the way she is. They don't see a woman the way she is. They see two women. They see the woman that they originally met. They see her. And they see the woman who is in front of them. So they've got this obstruction in their vision. They've got their memories and their feelings about you from when they met you. But they don't really see the woman sitting in front of them. So Ashanti, what I teach you all, Ashanti went scrolling back through her mental Rolodex. She went back through her mental Rolodex. Let's just call it for what it is. You're not going to like this next part for all the simps and sap suckers, but it's true. She went going through her mental Rolodex. Take a look on this stage. 20 years later. How many men on this stage make more than $2 million a year and are checking for Ashanti? Hell, how many on this stage ain't already had her? How many haven't already had her? How many? How many of them were actually options? There's the problem. They're not actually options. That's why the math worked out the way it did. Nelly was the one who was available. Cashed out, got his chips, whatever. Yeah, that doesn't matter. He's the one who's available. You might want Jermaine Dupri. He's not available. You might want to see if Ja Rule resurrects himself. He's not available. If he is, he hasn't proven he's got stability yet. Nelly, well, the world saw oh yeah, by the way, is it any wonder that the world read that he sold his catalog for tens of millions of dollars? He sells his catalog for tens of millions of dollars, and here comes Ashanti to apply the pressure. It's time for you and me to get married. How many folks in here fail second grade math and critical thinking and can't put this together? Nelly sells his catalog, cashes out for tens of millions of dollars, around 50 million reportedly, and next thing you know, after decades, Ashanti says, by the way, I need a baby and a ring. Now, she didn't need a baby and a ring 2 damn decades ago when she was popping for real and didn't have to be photoshopped or cellulite treatments. She didn't have to do that. Back then, it wasn't required. Now, it's required. All of a sudden. Now it is. Now it is. Now, that's the insult that a man shouldn't be sitting there accepting. What I'm saying is, so you're telling me all this is just coincidence and that what we're seeing is true love. That's what you're telling me. All of this is coincidence. Jason, you're just taking too many. All these things are coincidence, just a series of coincidences, and you're just taking it too seriously. You just don't understand. This is the way true love works. This is how true love works. It don't matter if he signs any papers now. He done got the broad pregnant. That's it. She ain't playing no games with him this time. That's why you can see psychologically she's telling you what she's focusing on. Motherhood, my family, my, M-Y, my family. My family, my fiance, my loyal fans who've been so supportive of my career. She didn't even say our career. She says me. It's all about me. What I'm telling you is Nelly. Hey, you dumb cluck nigga. She's holding a grudge, dude. In case you didn't notice, this little broad is holding a grudge. This ain't nothing to fool with. I wouldn't be playing with this right here, dude. Far as she's concerned, she is angry as hell at you because she blames you. Far as she's concerned, he wasted 12 years of my life. Never mind the fact that she was sitting there cheesing and grinning for the whole damn thing. She's going to put the blame on him. You wasted 12 years of my life. You wasted it. I didn't do anything wrong. You wasted it. And the problem is you are a coward. You betrayed me. You need to grow up. You need to accept responsibility for the things you've done. You're a coward. Fellas, how many of you who've been divorced and you thought things were all right with your old lady, and then 3 or 4 or 5 years later, she dropped the damn sledgehammer on your ass? She only stuck around long enough to make sure she had ironclad alimony and child support, but she had been carrying a grudge for years against you. She only stuck with you because she wanted to make sure the knife went all the way in, but she been carrying a grudge against you for years. And I submit to you that this thing right here, when she went to Dubai, this was a Hail Mary. She knows the rep in Dubai. Hey, it's now or never. It's now or never. I'm going for it. That's it. I'm going for it. And it didn't work out. So now she got to come crawling back to you. And now she's like, oh, hell no. He done got caked off. I'm putting myself in line. Because remember, selling your catalog, usually you're not going to just get a flat out check for that. It's going to be paid over time. She marries him now. She gets a piece of whatever he gets as income going forward. What happens is you have calculating females who look for not very bright, hardworking but not very bright or calculating, easily controlled males. These guys don't do critical thinking. Sex is really at the top of their list of priorities because they think sex gives them status. And when their status starts waning, they start looking for something nicer to try to have sex with to try to compensate for the value that they've lost. So these chicks can spin the block. They can spin the block 3 or 4 times, and here she comes back decades later. So obviously opportunistic. And he's going to sit there and sell the farm. Somebody explain to me, how was marrying Ciara a power move for Russell Wilson? How is that a power move for him? Yeah, we all know what the benefit is to Ciara. What's the power move to Russell? What is the power move for Nelly in marrying Ciara? What's the power move? What's the come up here for him? We all know what it is for her. But what is it for him? What does he get? How is this a power move for him? Where's the power move with Angela Simmons and Yo Gotti? What's the power move for him? We know what it is for Angela. What about him? Here is the issue that I'm raising with you all. Men today don't know their damn value. They don't know their value. And a man who is childless and has his money together, I told you all last week and the week before that, the most valuable asset in the world is a man who is childless, single, and got his money together. He has the ability to instantaneously change a woman's life. He has the ability to instantaneously make things happen. He can compete on a level she's never going to imagine doing and she's never going to try. So what I'm talking about is having something that that's why the word I used was asset, because it is something that continues to gain value. Explain to me the value that Ashanti is continuing to gain. What is the value that Ashanti is continuing to get? These are simple questions. What's the value that she's continuing to get? Because we can all see where Nelly's value is appreciating in value. His investing is appreciating in value. What about her? Show me where she is proportionally keeping up with his increase in value. In the chat room, Laterio, the telephone lines are now open. So glad you had so much to say. Laterio needs to call up now, so mods, go ahead and get his information here. You got 2 minutes to be on the line. As a matter of fact, for the other folks there who haven't been banned, who were disagreeing with this and saying that there's a problem and we're just being mean-spirited here, all those folks are required to call in. If they don't, permanent vacation. But the telephone lines are now open. And the number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. This is The Biz. I'm also going to go ahead and open up the Zoom. We're going to go ahead and open that up as well. Please remember that we give priority on Zoom. However, do keep in mind, make sure you have your camera and your microphone on for Zoom. Otherwise, we're going to think you're trolling, and you don't want that. If you are calling from outside of the country on the telephone lines, make sure you let the mods know before you call in, because hidden numbers and weird series of numbers, we're not going to fool with those. But you have that as an option. Also, I'm going to give it a few more minutes here. Looks like some folks are not liking tonight's program. I guess I'm offending people's sensibilities. If telling the truth is offending them, well, so be it. But nobody can tell me where I'm lying. So, by the way, if somebody can tell me where I'm lying at, if someone can tell me where I've made something up or somewhere where I'm not telling the truth, if someone can show me where I haven't stated the truth at, by the way, we're still waiting for that one. Nobody can somebody explain that one? First, we had Ciara's prayer. Now we've got Ashanti's game.
And deal with it, nigga.
This is where we're at today. The whole world has become one gigantic exercise in gaslighting. Everything has become an exercise in gaslighting now. Everything is about getting men to work our asses off, work our tongues out, work ourselves into a damn coma, and then tell us the best we can expect that we can bring millions of dollars of value. We can build ourselves up into millions of dollars of value. And that the best we can expect to get, we should be fine to get a 20-year-old retread. Folks, if you're a 20-year-old retread, shouldn't you be fetching 20-year-old retread prices, 20-year-old retread value? How is it you a 20-year-old retread and then there's some dumbass simp who's on his last leg and he's been getting manipulated by females his whole damn life, including Russell Wilson. These fellows who've been getting manipulated by females their whole damn lives, and then everybody tries to put pressure on us that we should just be accepting that ourselves. Work your ass off, do your best, excel, have the ability to instantaneously acquire the best in life, and then go grab a 20-year-old retread who's already been run through and every damn thing else. Show me where there's equal value. Show me where these two have equal value. I'm not talking about this nostalgic daydream you've been carrying around in your damn skull for the last 24 years. Show me where that value is now, today. Because Nelly is going to be required to part with his resources today, not the resources he had 20 years ago. He going to be required to drop off what he got now, where he is today, and he will be legally obligated to do it. That's where he's going to be now. Show me where her value has kept up with his so that this is a smart decision. Also, some of the folks who are in the chat room talking about love, that's another thing right there. You do realize that, by the way, you've completely run out of arguments when you talk about love. You have no insights into what love means to either one of them. So for you to say that is really you just desperately trying to pull some explanation out of your ear. But what you're not doing is actually describing a reality. As men, our labor is valuable. In many cases, it kills us and takes us out of this world. Shouldn't we be getting equal value for our labor, for our self-worth? Shouldn't we be getting that? And why is there such a concentrated effort to tell us that work your ass off to become a one percenter and extraordinary so that you can get the same damn mediocre thing everybody else is getting? Let me get on the telephone lines here. Caller from area code 256. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. This is Stephanie calling from San Diego, California.
All right, Stephanie from San Diego. And what's on your mind?
So I definitely agree with you that men who build their value up, they shouldn't have to settle, right? I definitely don't agree that Russell Wilson should have married Ciara. I definitely think, he settled in that situation. But I think this situation with Ashanti is a bit different. Men like Nelly, I think Nelly can go out there and get any woman he wants. I don't think he needs a come up because he's already powerful. I think that men who have been in the spotlight, have experienced power, has experienced multiple women, I think some of them get to a point in their life where, because they've experienced all those things, they can now see what's important. And, being a younger person, my friends and I sometimes talk about it and say, hey, if you're an older guy and you want to get with a younger girl, you're going to have to cut a check. And there are some older men, they don't want to do that. They don't want to get with a younger girl. They don't want to be seen as just a resource. And some of them actually they want love. They want appreciation. They want to be valued for who they are and not just how much money they have. So I just think this situation is just a bit different.
Okay. Now, I want to ask a few questions here because I took some notes of what you said. Let's start with the first one here. You said, I think Nelly can get any woman he wants. Why would you say that?
Because he's built his value up. I mean, he's a multimillionaire. I mean, his career is not what it is, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that he still has other avenues of making money.
Okay, well, you're speculating there. But my thing is, I asked you a different question. So what you just said, I want you all to understand something here. And it's very good that you said that, Stephanie. Females will tell you that they want a man who isn't about money and his personality and personality. Oh, he's a nice guy. And then when you ask them what makes a man valuable, what they mention always goes back to his money, his financial accomplishment. Even if you ask them something that has nothing to do with their finances. Women, so understand the big lie is when a woman tells you, oh, your money don't matter. Your money always matters. And even if you ask her, let's talk about something other than money. What makes me valuable? She's going to bring it back to how much you make. So let me try this again, Stephanie. I think Nelly can get any woman he wants. Why do you say that? You think that his money gives him
wealthy.
Money. You think his income gives him the ability to get, quote, any woman he wants?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Here's the issue with what you're saying there, because what you're saying might sound sensible, but in reality, there's some flaws in it. First of all, have you considered Nelly's track record as far as women are concerned?
I don't really know his track record.
Okay, I'm sure you do know that he's got a bunch of kids. I'm sure you do know that. I'm sure you know that one.
Well, yeah, I know he has kids. I know he didn't marry the women. But I think women, I don't know, because I think a lot of times if a man has money, women can overlook a lot of that, you know?
Wait a minute, you think women can overlook what?
The fact that he has kids, he has a bad track record with women and hasn't married any of them.
Now think about that for a few moments. I'm glad for your candor. And by the way, California girl on the phone. So if y'all want to know why the dudes in California move the way they do, I thank you very much for your candor. Y'all know what she said? Hey, he got the bag right. Women will, she didn't say hoes now. Women will overlook that. If your money is straight enough, women will overlook it. Dirty little secret. Hey, can we just be real? She's just being honest. She just went, well, Jason, look, he got $50 million. Women will overlook that. The other women, the other kids, whatever he does, they'll overlook that. She's not talking about Ashanti. She's talking about women in general. But they'll overlook it. Simply because the bag is right. Very candid. Very candid. Although, the issue that I have with that is that if that were the case, then Nelly would have a female who amplifies his value, which is the only reason that you should have a situation where you're financially and legally obligated to a woman. It should be a woman who is enhancing what you're doing, because that goes to your judgment. So far, Nelly hasn't done that. He's had some kids with some females, but he hasn't done that. And there's the issue.
I mean, I can agree with that.
So when we take a look at his judgment, he hasn't actually demonstrated that he's got that kind of judgment. He's demonstrated he has kids with a chick if it's a good Friday night, but not about, okay, this chick is special. She had to meet qualifications. I'm taking a risk. Now, I want to go to the next thing you said here. You said that if you get with a younger woman, you'll have to cut a check. Why do you say that?
Because in most cases, younger women, they're going to want some type of trade-off to get with an older guy, and it's usually going to be financial.
Okay.
Just being honest.
Before we go too further, I'm going to let you finish here. Before we go too further, just so I can make sure I got the parameters here. What is your definition of younger female and older female? What age are we talking about?
Younger, I'm talking about 20 to 25. Older, I'm talking about anything over 25. Really, 18 to 25 is younger.
Okay, so you're saying older is over the age of 25. So, okay, well, the females are finally settling where the men have always been. All right. Now, here's the issue with what you just said there. If you get with a younger woman, you'll have to cut a check. I'm not really sure about what you mean by cut a check. So what exactly do you mean by that?
So when women are younger, we go through this stage where there's just a lot of immaturity. You know, we want things very fast. We want money very fast. We want all those things that men have as a result of their success. We want those, and we don't realize what it takes, into someone building that and creating that, because we're just not mature yet. So women want to be flown out. They want to be bought things. They want to experience things, usually around that age, about 18 to 25. And so that's when a lot of women get sugar daddies so that they could get that. But then after 25, sometimes for some women, it takes about 30 where they mature and, they start to see things in a more mature way. But usually it's women at 25. If you get married, if you're a woman and you get married before 25 to an older guy and he falls ill, you're not sticking around. Okay. I mean, if the money goes away, chances are you're not sticking around. It
sounds like what you're saying is that all relationships are based on money.
When you're below 25 and you're an older guy, when you're a woman and you're below 25 and the man is older, yeah, it's based on money.
For the guy, define older.
I would say anything over 35.
Okay, that's so let me get this straight now. For the females, younger is 20 to 25 and older is over 25. For the men, older is over 35.
Yeah, because that's when guys usually start to bring in the money, about 35 and
okay, older. Because older doesn't have anything to do with your income. Isn't older simply a chronological metric?
No, older in women's minds is when you start to bring in the money.
Okay, so in other words, she's referring to older as a socioeconomic status and not a chronological age. Okay. Now she's gotten quiet. She's referring to older as a socioeconomic status, not a biological age.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with that.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of fallacies in there. Number one, as you know, and you should, how old are you, Stephanie?
29.
Okay. Do you have any kids, Stephanie, by the way?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't have any kids.
California scheming. All right. We'll come back to that. All right, Stephanie, you're in your 20s here, so there's some things you'll probably be familiar with in that regard. In your early 20s, for example, most females got big ass body counts in their younger 20s, and that's not by millionaires.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, University of California, I can go down the list. These chicks today in California, they got crazy body counts, crazy STD counts, orgies, sex videos. Oh yeah, and not by millionaires, by Pookie and the little dumbass in her math class. And that's the norm. That's not the exception to the rule. That is the rule. That's the rule. So the exception would be the chick being able to get an older fella whose money is straight. Most chicks today are just getting run through by an average run-of-the-mill dork in their classroom or some guy down the block. They're not getting run through by a bunch of well-to-do professional men who can wine and dine you. That's the complaint that most males have, is that, by the way, the nigga who got you pregnant didn't have to be balling. Hell, he didn't have to be employed. The 20 guys you had sex with before I showed up didn't have to do anything for you. I show up and all of a sudden you give me a laundry list of, okay, I need you to get this and this and this and a honey-do list. But the 25, 30 dudes before me didn't have to do any of that. So both of those things cannot be true. It can't be they're in their 20s and they're getting men of value when what we see in the 20s is just a bunch of chicks getting run through because it's Friday. As long as the guy is cute enough, money is irrelevant. Is that not the norm?
You're right. And you're right. When women are younger, looks are important, right? And
right. So that's that. Okay, but that's why I'm making the point though that you said if you get with a younger woman, you got to cut a check. Well, I mean, I suppose if you're a trick and you deal with the world from a trick perspective, you cut a check. But you mentioned about men being over the age of 35. Men over the age of 35 know they don't have to do that. I mean, if you're a guy over the age of 35 and you're making $150,000, $250,000 a year, you already know you don't have to do that. Now, an immature fellow who's desperate and doesn't really have any money, first thing he does is throw money at things because he doesn't know how to operate. A man who's in his 30s and got the hang of this thing and has built himself, he knows he doesn't have to cut a check to her. He knows that. That's the reason why he got into an advantageous position, so that he doesn't have to leverage money. He's leveraging his accomplishments, not money. Now, a trick, it doesn't matter how young he is or old he is, he always leads with money because he doesn't have personality or accomplishments that he's confident in. But the average 35-year-old male is not really trying to be the trick making it rain. That's not really what they're trying to do. As evidenced by the fact, what is the number one complaint that the females have about, younger females have about those guys? Oh, well, they're all players. No, what they mean is he's not going to let you get over on him. So theoretically, I can understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying in practice, what we actually see in the real world, I don't think it actually plays out that way. Pretty sure it plays out differently. Let's go ahead and take a look at older over 25. Okay, there's a good metric to have right there. You said that men don't want to be out there. You said that after a certain amount of time that these fellas don't want to be out there. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, I mean, so like if you're someone like Nelly who has had the guy's probably had so many women. He's seen a lot, experienced a lot. He's built up a lot, and he's probably at a point in his life where there are things that he has that are important to him. And maybe one of those things could be love. And he feels like he's found that. Sometimes, men want women that want to be with them for who they are and not what they have or not what their value is.
And yet everything that you named was about judging a man by what he has.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right. I mean, that's how women evaluate men by their value. But again,
but you just said they choose them.
Men want to be evaluated that way.
Okay, well, all right, that's a contradiction. But all right, but real quick here, you used an interesting word that a lot of folk use in this regard. I consider it to be very fallacious, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to define it. You said, well, maybe he loves her. Okay, can you please define love for me?
Love as in he has a strong bond or emotional tie from her, whether that's from the past or something that they rekindled. I think that he has a very strong bond with her, an emotional tie with her, to want to rekindle this.
Okay, a bond or a tie. That's what we call love?
I'm looking at it.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you how you define it, because there's a very important point here. People keep throwing that word around, and they really just mean it as some general, very vague umbrella term. But nobody actually can give you a practical, actionable definition of what it means. And the reason is
I think he
because
has a very strong bond.
the reason, okay, a bond, if we're going to define love as a bond, then we love a lot of things in this world. A lot more than people. I can name a number of things that you're bonded to that aren't even human. Yikes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we're going to define love as, well, I'm bonded to it, this is going to get real messy and real sticky very quickly. But the other issue here is that love means different things to different people. And by definition, if it can mean anything to anyone, then it means nothing. So that doesn't mean, I'm not saying that you do not have a connection to this person or a quote feeling. But if you're going to say, well, maybe he loves her, that's why he's making this decision. Just understand, how do you even define that? Taking a look at Nelly's track record, has he demonstrated that he's a good judge of females who enhance value over the last 20 years?
No, he hasn't.
Now, here's my next question. If he has this bond with Ashanti, can you tell me, how is it that it's been 20 years? What is it that he sees now he didn't see 20 years ago?
I couldn't answer that. I have no clue.
Okay, but the problem is you do know. You do know. You know that if a person's known you for 20 years, they know everything about you, inside out and upside down. And it doesn't take you 20 years to learn that about another person.
I think, you know what I think? I think that she got pregnant, and I think she probably went to him and said, hey, I don't want to be a baby mama. Because Ashanti avoided not getting pregnant for 20 years, right?
Yeah, but that's the only thing she hasn't done, though. The only thing that she has not done is get pregnant and get married. And this man had 20 years to do it, and by their own admission, he never did. So what is it that he saw in her from 2003 to 2015 that made him say, yeah, no thanks?
I don't know. I mean,
really?
It was something that made him not pull that trigger. But I think this time.
Okay, was it a good? Okay, but was it a good thing? Wait a minute, no. It was something. Okay, was it something good or something bad?
It was something bad. It was something bad.
Okay, then what makes? Then you don't know what it was. Meet you in Dubai. What happens in Dubai stays in Dubai. Hello. Hello. That's not enough. What I'm saying is you got a chick who's getting flued out to Dubai, and we know nothing good goes down over there. Why is it that that's not what he saw? He's the kind of dude she gets with over here, and that's what she would do over there, and she for the freeway, and just leave it at that. Why is it that that's not the truth?
I mean, it could very well be true. I think two things could be true at one time. I think, he could love her, but I also think that she got pregnant. She probably just didn't want to have that stigma attached to her of not being married. So she probably went to him and said, hey, I want to get married, before we have this baby, or right after we have this baby.
Okay, come on now. She's 43 years old. A 43-year-old woman does not get pregnant before she gets married unless that's the plan. Come on now. Let's not do this. 43 years old, not 13, not 23. A 43-year-old woman does not get pregnant unless that's the plan. How can we characterize that any other way? She's 43. You don't avoid getting pregnant for 2.5 decades by accident. She avoided it because she didn't want to get pregnant. Now she's like, oh, hell, I hear it. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, there it is. She heard that sound. She heard it coming. She said, there it is, damn it, the last train leaving. And then she said, it's now or never. Let me go find the guy who is most vulnerable and most susceptible. He's already knocked other females up. He's not the best choice, but he's the last one available. He's got millions of dollars that I've confirmed. The world knows he's got it. And he's the kind of guy who'll sit up here and get a chick pregnant and risk everything. Here's the real issue with women and money. In reality, an older female costs you much more, Stephanie. As take it from those of us who are men who've been living this life all these decades. Women get more expensive as they get older. They're at their cheapest in their 20s. They're at their most expensive in their 40s and God almighty, their 50s. They sit up here and try to negotiate and wrangle everything. A female in her 20s is cheapest thing you're going to be able to get. She's not really calculating. A female who's already been through the ringer and you've been to a bunch of restaurants and been to a bunch of vacation places, she's got more experience under her belt, and now she comes in the door trying to negotiate and trap a deal and setting this sky-high price. As a man, we can tell you that as females, you guess about it. We already know. When they get older, that's what it is. A 22-year-old female does not want a 5,000 square foot house. A 20-year-old female does not want a closet full of handbags. A 20-year-old female don't give a damn about a cruise ship. It is an older female in her 30s who feels like the previous 50 men who ran through her owe her something. Now, all of a sudden, she's talking about faraway places, expensive items. Let me pat your pockets before we do anything. So women get more expensive as they get older. And once they are, ironically enough today, when they hit middle age, that's when they try to hit the max price. When they hit middle age. By the way, get Redbone Voodoo Doll's information. She needs to call up. She's got 2 minutes. But women get older as they get, women get more expensive as they get older. So no, it's actually a fallacy to say that women are more expensive when they're younger. They're actually far less expensive. A chick who has bought her own Fendi bag, she expects you to pay twice as much for a gift. A chick in her 20s is happy to get a gift. A female in her late 30s or 40s, she wants to put a price tag on what the value of your gift should be. And on account of the fact, well, I could have bought myself that. You don't hear that from a 22-year-old. Nor do they approach you that way as if they're here to get something or take something from you. So chicks in their early 20s have not been ran through that way, jaded in that way, not the way a 43-year-old is. A 43-year-old has got a much more jaundiced view of the world. And she sees men as, I got to get over on you before you get over on me. So she's no longer waiting for you to decide what her value is. Let me tell you what you got to pay. Let me go ahead and hit you up for that. And they come in the door with it. That's the issue. So it's actually a fallacy to think that younger female, you're going to have to cut a check. Younger females are not the ones sitting up here talking about a man, if a man don't make $250,000 a year with her 3 bastard kids sitting next to her. That's not what the average 22, 23, 24-year-old does or thinks like, unless you've been hanging out with the old hoes. As females get older, everything becomes about calculating what a man's got. Case in point, no offense, the wonderful, lovely 29-year-old on my phone. And her estimation of men orbits around, by the way, how much does he make? And I will tell you everything else I think and feel about him based on that, as opposed to an objective valuation of his character, output, accomplishments, principles. She didn't mention any of that. She just said, let me go ahead and see how much money you got because I want to make sure this is worth my while.
And okay, and some of that I do agree with you on. When I said that women, when they say, hey, you're going to have to cut a check, they're not saying that to men their age. So men their age, they don't put that stipulation on men their age. A lot of times,
but they don't put that on men out. They don't put that out men out their age either.
They do, but I think when you're in your 20s, it's not as, like you said, it won't be as bad You won't do it as much.
Stephanie, how many women have you dated? Let me find out just real quick. How many women have you dated?
I don't date women.
Okay, so as a man who dates women, what you're saying is what you speculate. You're not speaking from the position of a man who dates females. So for those of us who date the females in their 20s, in reality, that's not the way that works. I know you might feel that's the way that works, but that's not the way that works. If a young chick, now that works on guys who are tricks, but then again, those guys spend money on a female no matter what her age is, which is the point I was making before.
But Jason, I think you underestimate how many men out here are tricks.
No, I don't. I started off the program talking about it. I started off the program talking about it. I started off the program tonight talking about how dumb so many of them are. Absolutely. And those guys don't get no money. The majority of them don't get any. But as a virtue of the fact they have to spend it all. Even if they did get any, she'd have to spend it all. Women's complaints out here today, what are their complaints? When they say a fellow wants to date white women, what they mean is this guy makes money and he don't want to just throw it around. And that's what they really mean. Or these men want to be players. What they mean is, yeah, they ain't tricks. Or when they say these guys want to have more than one female, what they're saying is, yeah, they're not tricks. That's what women really mean when they say that. If these guys were really tricks like that, it would be different. That's what they mean is the problem is, hey, these guys ain't tricking like we really want them to be. Case in point, if the men who actually had the bag were that susceptible, you'd have a lot fewer females complaining about men not paying for stuff. But you see exactly the opposite. Let's also be very, very clear. It's only the top 15% that make $100,000 a year or more. It's only the top 15% who do that.
But some of them are susceptible, though. Going back to your point, you were saying that how Nelly has never dated a woman who has this, who has that same value. And I think for a lot of men, and I was saying this to someone the other day, a lot of men in the Black community, they're not taught that they should date women who have the same value as them. And I was having a conversation about a guy that makes $100,000 should not be dating a woman who makes $20,000, right? Because they're just in two different socioeconomic classes. It's just different. But in the Black community, men date all up the spectrum.
Okay, well, it would depend in that regard. My standard would be you should not make a permanent connection to them. You should have the ability to get up and walk away. So you might meet a chick who's making $20,000. It would depend on where her head is at. But if she's got a $20,000 a year work ethic, okay, yeah. You might want to put some distance. However, my real point about it is Nelly's got, $50 million they're going to give him or whatever. Can somebody show me where Ashanti has $50 million of value? Because he just made her a direct beneficiary of all that. Whether they break up tomorrow again, they got a good track record over 20 years of breaking up. By the way, if they split up again, this time it'll be different. He can't walk away from this one. He's on the hook for this one.
I think that's why everyone in the chat is saying it. Well, not everyone, but some people in the chat are saying it's love, because they can't measure the same value that she brings. So
I think people who say that are trying to use an umbrella term to try to describe something, okay, but can it just be as simple as, by the way, Nelly's always kind of been a sucker and she waited him out. This is why I called it the game, because she circled back around 20 years later and there he was still sitting there. And she realized he's just as mentally weak and susceptible as he's always been. Only now she's like, I'm going in for the kill. And he went for it. These fellas here, the difference now is that 20 years ago, he was a younger man and more competitive. What I found is that as a lot of these fellas get older, especially if they were young and reckless with their genes, reckless with their sperm, they tend to get older and they don't learn a new trick. Well, he's demonstrated she's like, you
So
know
let me
what? You went for the jugular on me 20 years ago. I'm going for it on you now. And this time
let
you
me ask
won't
you
have a
this, Jason.
choice.
Should men then continue to be competitive as they age into their 50s and 60s, or should they marry and settle down when they are at their peak competitiveness? Because I think you teach men to get married older, but as they age, they're competitive. I mean, some men just get tired of it, Jason. Not every man is built like you are.
You know, that's a very interesting question you ask. It's too expansive for me to answer right this moment. I was actually talking to a lady about this a couple of days ago, about just that very thing, about as we get older, being competitive is a blessing, but it's also a curse. I think Vince McMahon is a very good example of getting older, and the most important thing in your life is being competitive. But as a result, he refused to get off the stage. He should have handed the company over to his kids. He was at his most competitive being, quote, in charge, and that's what ultimately was his undoing. So that's a very expansive question that you ask. That's a very expansive thing. I will need more time to be able, maybe I'll handle that tomorrow on Patreon. Maybe I'll address that tomorrow on Patreon. Prince is in the chat room there. Remind me tomorrow here. Maybe I want to address that tomorrow as far as, as we get older. It's my short answer to you is I think it's a double-edged sword. If you're uncompetitive, you will be unaccomplished. So a man cannot afford to be unaccomplished. I also don't think you can ever get a point in your life where you're not competitive, because that's what gives you your value as a man. Money is simply a side effect of being productive, resourceful. It's a side effect. It's not something that happens on its own. You have to become something else before you can make money. And so if you lose that something else, your ability to make money is probably going to go south too. But can being competitive start blocking out other things? Yeah, it can. It sure can. Well, what do? Do you cash out when you're on top, or do you just spend the rest of your life trying to stay on top? I actually think it's a fusion of the two, because take a look at Chance the Rapper. Take a look at most of your NBA players. By the way, had a video that I was looking at here before from an NBA player. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens. When these dudes retire, they go, the woman divorces them. When he's out there on the field and he's taking heads and winning championships, the women stick around. When the glitz, the glamour, the limelight, he's competing. Women stick around. As soon as you stop being competitive, the women go find a divorce lawyer. Or if they already had one, they call them up. Okay, this nigga done. File the papers. File the papers. So women respect us for being on top. They respect us for being competitive. They don't respect us when we're not. They just tolerate us. Women don't respect us when we're not competitive. They just tolerate us. Because competitiveness is what gives you status, not money. Money is a side effect of productivity. Status is a side effect of competitiveness and competence. When she sees you got status, other people are acknowledging that. Oh, you competing. You're doing good. As soon as you lose that, bam, we're gone. Because that was what bonded her to you. A woman cannot admire a man who's not competitive. She can't admire him. She can use him. If he's not competitive, but he's sitting on some paper, she can use him, but she doesn't admire him. And my concern is, well, Nelly is still doing shows and stuff. I just wonder if that's what Ashanti really wants. And I submit to you, based on her comments to Essence, that's not actually what she wants. And even worse, hey, old boy, she's holding a grudge for at least the last decade. And I think now she just went in for the kill, and she was just like, you know what? I know you're a snake, and I'm just going to get you before you get me. When a female gets pregnant before she gets married, what she's telling the man is, I'm going to get you before you get me. Because I'm going to get the system to back me up. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me go over here and check on Zoom. Let me see if I got Dan over here on Zoom. And that's a hell of a spot for you to be in. That is a hell of a spot for you to be in when you're hoping for somebody's better angels to keep a hold of them. All right, Dan, we got you on Zoom here. What's on your mind, brother?
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, we can. What's on your mind?
I'm just listening to the program where you break that down with Ashanti. I 100% agree with that. I always said this. I think I told you this when you kind of addressed that. I think that was a silly move on his part. I think it's more of an edge on her part. You know what I'm saying? Because you're right. What more value he getting out of her after knowing her for 20 years? I never understood that. I know dudes like that I see every day in my lifetime that know a chick. They be knowing the same chick for 20 years and probably put 2-3 kids in her, and all of a sudden you married her. Like, and it's always in a disaster. Always.
Well,
it's not the good.
Here's my thing about it here. She's 43 years old. How much better is she going to get at 43? How much more value are you going to get? How much more is she going to appreciate and value? Let's compare that to a younger female. Let's just say one in her early 20s. Right. A man like Nelly is risking everything getting married at this point in his life. He's risking everything. Everything. Now, and he's betting it all. Well, slow down. He's betting it all on her. This 43-year-old that he's known for 20 years, and obviously something on the back of his neck told him not to marry her or get involved. He had babies with other women, not her. He had babies with other females, but not this one. 20 years later, screw it, might as well. I'm saying I don't think that's judgment. So at this point, a man at this point here, he's almost 50 years old now, sitting on mills. He's got a lot to lose. If he gets with a 23-year-old or 25-year-old, for example, she's got a lot to lose. Jason, Why do you say that? Because she's risking her future. He's risking his resources. He's risking his amassed wealth. This young female is risking her future. What is Ashanti risking?
Nothing.
Now, we all know what she gonna get. But somebody tell me, what is she risking? What's she putting on the bricks, and what is she putting up for grabs that she can lose, that she wouldn't want to lose? There's where the problem comes in.
Yeah, because he got 2 other kids. That's his, and the other 2 kids, I think he adopted when his sister passed away or something like that.
And I think that's fine. That's not a problem here. Like I have, but by the same token, he ain't afraid to just get a chick pregnant. So I got to call it down the middle.
So that's something I don't understand though. But again, I see a lot. This it's not my first time seeing it. I see a lot of older cats in my personal life that have done that. You know what I'm saying? And truth to be told, some family members of mine have done that too. And it always don't end up right. It always end up as a disaster, or you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna get into the detail, but it's always turn out bad.
No, I mean, look, I think what most men are not willing to accept is that a woman is willing to wait you out. I think that men are so used to being the ones who wait that most men, particularly when they start getting older, they don't realize, by the way, you know what? A woman will wait you out. We're so used to being the ones pursuing, which means a lot of the time we have to be patient, or we're the ones waiting. Most men don't understand that, by the way, hey, fella, if a woman wants something from you, she'll wait you out. She'll wait. Might take a month, might take a year, might take a decade. Might take a decade, but she'll wait you out. And if she's got a grudge, dude, she's treating this like a game. She's like, hey, I'm here to score. I'm here to get you before you get me and get that trophy. That's what I'm here for. If Ashanti could have picked up somebody else, she would have done it in the last 10 years. She would have done it in the last 8 years if there was one available.
She saw this. She was something that you was reading. You did read some shit that it said. Was she quoted that he's a coward? Basically, I guess when they broke up, 10 years ago or something like that. That how much of a coward he was and how immature, or she was talking down on him or something like that. So it's kind of like. Well, it seems like ever since he cast that, truth to be told, I'm just gonna keep it straightforward. Seems like when he cast out on that catalog, it's like, hey, because she was just in a relationship with Jordan Lucas, the rapper Jordan Lucas. So I mean,
it's interesting to me that dumbasses out there, like I said, you have a lot of people with their heads up their rumps, living in nostalgia. They don't think, they just tap away on keyboards and comment on the internet. They don't know anything. They're world-class morons, and they may embarrass themselves all the time, and they're gleeful to do so. Too bad we can't put them on billboards when they do that, so they can get their proper recognition. But the bottom line is, brother, I'm the only person who mentioned that. By the way, hey, she showed up just after the catalog gets sold. And what I'm saying is, first you make the deal to sell the catalogs, then you're going to start getting your money. So he most likely didn't start getting any money until this year. Most likely he didn't. And what do you know? Here she is with an offer he can't refuse, and now a connection that he can't walk away from.
And do you know what, man? It's the same pattern with these dudes. It's the same pattern. Look at what Ciara Ciara did last long enough with Future to get his catalog, but it's like it's the same pattern. Soon one of these dudes for they gonna make a big deal or something, bam, here come an old flame. All of a sudden he done got married. You know what I'm saying? It's like the same pattern though, man. It's tough to explain it. You can explain it better than I do. That's why you're doing the program. I'm not.
Like I say, I do not believe for a second this is coincidence after all this time here. Here she shows up again. The pandemic happens. She throws the hooks. One more thing. Wait a minute. One more thing. Hold on just a moment, folks. I want to make sure of something. Let me make sure of something real quick. Yes, I was right. Okay, now you all tell me, this is live right now. This is live. Let me go through one more thing right here. There was a question that we all had not been asking. But I'm going to ask this question now of all of you. Folks, if you need another timeline, Nelly and Ashanti, quote unquote, re-encounter each other in 2021. You can assume they slept together the first night and everything else been popping ever since. Yeah. July 2023, Nelly sells his catalog.
Yeah.
So he gets back with her. And within 24 months, he's selling the farm. And then, less than a year later, she's pregnant and they get married. You tell me this was all his idea?
It was her idea.
So all that falling into place in such an advantageous degree for her, this is all his plan and his idea, and it's just a big, Jason, all this stuff happens just a big coincidence. She comes back in his life in 2021, 24 months later, or less than 24 months later, he's selling his entire catalog. Ciara's prayer, Ashanti's game. This is the Ashanti game, y'all. She's been spinning the block for all these years. She saw her opening. She circled back around the block again. Let me just take everything we got. In Russell Wilson's case, this was a woman he didn't know previously. For all you fellas out there with a chick you know previously, it's like, okay, whatever lane she was in, you better keep her there. Because if you've elevated in value, especially if you've tremendously elevated in value, and she's spinning the block back again, and now she's got all kinds of financial advice for you. Hey, why don't you sell your catalog? Why don't you cash out? You don't need all that. You and me gonna be together. Well, she ain't got a catalog to cash out. Here, you go ahead and cash out, and then y'all come on now. This ain't game? This ain't game.
That's why I just called it out. I said, man, she got women because of that catalog. That's it.
This ain't game, though. This is true love. This is true love. This is the way true love happens.
Hell no, ain't no true love.
Okay. Well, I don't wish ill on them. I'm just saying, hey, there's a sucker born every minute. Thank you very much for giving this call, Night Brother. We appreciate that. Okay, let me get back over here on Blog Talk 301 and 469 and everybody else who's on the line here. Stick with me. Let me get caller from area code 301. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, this is Sherry from Maryland.
Okay, Sherry from where at Maryland?
Hyattsville, Maryland.
All right, Hyattsville, Maryland. What's on your mind?
I agree a lot that, Nelly is broken, but I disagree when you're saying like he's on the upswing and she's not. They're both on the downswing. She's got nothing going. He's got nothing going.
Ma'am, he's got a $50 million catalog that he's sold going. What you talking about?
Well, I mean, but fame and fortune, I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, but Nelly's still doing concerts.
So is she.
Okay, are you going to compare hers? Okay. But can you compare hers to his, ma'am?
No.
All right.
I'm just saying that Nelly approached Ashanti. He's just like, and I agree with that he's simping. He tried it with Floyd Mayweather's baby mama. If she left Floyd Mayweather with that much money, I just know he had to know he wasn't going to hold her for so long. That was broke. Sold his catalog. With Ashanti, to me, I think he did the strategic move because he approached her. So I think he did it because it's fame and fortune. I think just to keep his name relevant, you can sell your catalog and you got $50 million, but it's nothing like that lights, camera, action. And that was the same thing I was saying with Russell Wilson. I mean, he has money. He's doing his thing, but what the women bring is those lights that they don't have in a different way. I mean, they're famous in their own right, but the fame and the fortune and light that those women bring is what keeps them.
Ma'am,
Ashanti,
I mean,
of course,
you can't compare Nelly's track record, Nelly's performance, Nelly's longevity, his ability to tour, his income, plus his you can't compare the value of those to Ashanti. Ashanti is living off nostalgia of little dried out little dudes who used to download porn on Napster back in 2003. Nelly is still making his own way on his own. So, I mean, you can't really compare those two. You really can't compare that. That's why Ashanti has been so fast and furious and desperate to get a sponsor. She hasn't been trying to get a sponsor because it's popping. She's been trying to get a sponsor because that money starts drying up. So, in reality, we can't compare the two. Ashanti is nowhere even close to somebody cutting the check for $50 million. You can't, y'all can say, I don't care. The biggest Ashanti stan can come jumping up. There ain't nothing that she's got that's going to be worth $50 million. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I agree. But I don't think Nelly was popping in the way that you say or the way that you think. I think that I don't know if he knew it was going to be this big of a deal, but as soon as he got back with her, the lights, cameras, action got back on him. He became more relevant. If you're saying he was relevant still, became more relevant, but he's not happy. You know that. I know that. You can see it. And hey, I think they both took an opportunity to try to get their last train. Now, does he have more opportunities? I don't know. Or whatever happened between, I'm just guessing, whatever happened between him and his last girlfriend, Miss Jackson or whatever, that broke him because, again, he can get women. That's probably not the issue. But the fame and fortune, you can't get it. He can't, nobody else, well, there's not that many around, but you're not going to get that.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much fame. I mean, he's already got plenty of fame. It's not as if he needed needed Ashanti to get his name hot, and it's not like she's taking him to a new level. Nobody is saying that Nelly's going to be able to double his ticket prices because he's dating or marrying Ashanti. So she doesn't really have an effect on his income. Certainly, it gives you more reasons to mention him, but that doesn't necessarily translate into more money. Here, now, there's one thing I do agree with you on. Now, I don't know who the last female he was with or whatever, but I certainly think that there's a bunch of dudes out there that as they've gotten older, they're afraid to be alone. That's what I think is really happening. And they've dealt with so many shallow females in their youth. Yeah. So many chicks who got over on them and got kids and things. And the worst thing a man can do is get into his damn 50s looking for a do-over. You are vulnerable and susceptible. Every female can see when you going in your 50s trying to get a damn do-over. Dude, put that behind you. Let that go, because there's nothing but sharks and serpents out here when they see a 50-year-old dude who is so obviously trying to get a do-over for his 20s. You're not supposed to be trying to get a do-over for your 20s. You're supposed to be trying to make the best of where you are. And women can see it's just dripping off of you. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, I think what Stephanie was trying to say when she was trying to compare like what women want when they're younger, get in the bag versus when they're older. I think that's what she was trying to say, what you just said. You know, when they're younger like that and you're 50 like that, they look at you as fish bait, and they will wear you out. And so Nelly is older, that's one. He's got money, so he knows he's shark bait, and it's tiring at a certain age for a man. So I think he took what he thought was comfortable, and like I said, I'm sticking with my analogy.
The devil he knows.
Brings some more relevance to me right now.
The devil he knows. Here's the problem. He's demonstrating once again his complete and utter lack of critical thinking and wisdom. If Ashanti was willing to stick around for 2 damn decades and you never had to marry her and never had to get her pregnant, why the hell do you got to change the damn rules now? That was not his idea. That was her idea. If she was cool floating all this time, she gonna be cool doing it now. The only reason she wants that baby is because she wants to handcuff you. And a person who wants to handcuff you, whether it's a man, a woman, or the police, they do not have good intentions for you. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller area code 469. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is AJ from Dallas.
All right, AJ from Dallas. The ladies are giving us a call up here tonight. They defending Ashanti, but it's okay. All right, AJ from Dallas. How old are you? Let's get this out the way.
I am 36, and I'm actually not siding with Ashanti on this one. Thank you.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see, touch and go. We'll see how it goes. Okay, what's on your mind?
All right, what I wanted to say was you went through this brief timeline of when he sold his catalog and all that stuff. I'm going to take it a little bit back, and it may have been around the same time when she had, when Irv Gotti dropped he did his documentary about whatever the name of his record label was or whatever, how they got destroyed and demolished and all that stuff. Remember, she was going on tour. And remember, he told her and whoever was under his label that they couldn't take their masters. You know, you can go tour, you can go do all these things, but the original record stays here. So remember, Ashanti was only hot because of Irv Gotti, Ja Rule. She had that team around her that made Ashanti. Ashanti on her own, to what the other caller just stated, she can't really hold her own to make Nelly this high-type brand name, whatever. Nelly on any given day is going to outdo her. So that's not the area there. I think that her timeline, Ashanti's, is interesting because when Irv Gotti said, no, ma'am, you can't take back them hit records that you was doing. You got to go figure out how to create your own records moving forward. Remember, she was touring. She was doing them little mom and pop shows. It wasn't hidden all the way like she thought it was because she didn't have the original records. In comes Nelly. So her timeline, I think she worked her magic pretty well. I think she put that pressure in on him. I think whatever the ultimatum was real good this time around that he signed up for it. So I think her timing was ideal, and I think it was perfect for her silly for him to do because there was no benefit for him to have to do that. So, see, I didn't side with her.
Well, very wise. Certainly in the music business, I think the problem is that most people today, period, they're completely clueless. They are utterly clueless. When you listen to people like Joe Budden, DJ Academics, they're sitting there telling folks all the time, hey, your favorite artists ain't making no money. These are guys who know. They're sitting there saying, hey, we seen their records. They ain't making no money. Academics, Joe, with Spotify deals, they're like, hey, we got Spotify deals. They ain't making no money, man. Your favorite artists are not making any money. That's what folks are trying to tell them. They're not making no money. And so you have this idea that because you bought an album from her back in 2001, that somehow the rub is still going on. It's like, hey, dude, it ain't really like that. For example, please remember, like I say, I'm not talking to somebody on the outside looking in, as I've talked to folk with Bad Boy Records. Y'all, everybody knows the damn deal. The bottom line is, y'all are not stupid. Puffy is giving back the publishing, because he's already gotten the value of it. He already got the value of it. He got the value of it 20 years ago. He wants everybody to sign an NDA, which is what he didn't have before. He's like, okay, you can have your publishing as long as you sign this NDA. Now he wants to shut the damn world up. You can have your publishing as long as you never talk about me again. Yeah. But what Morrison said was, hey man, it ain't even. He said, man, look, Mark Curry. Let's say, man, he said he done already got the value out of it. There's no more value in the publishing. Now, of course, if you're like the Locks and you've been able to sustain your value, you have a different story. But the rest of Bad Boy Records cannot say the same thing. So it's very easy in reality, the rest of that roster at Bad Boy, that is the music industry. The folks who can still perform and tour and make $1 million in a year, that's the exception. Most other folks, they end up doing that. Usher with his residency in Vegas, that's the exception. And this idea on the internet, like I say with Cassie, folk sound stupid as hell. In reality, Cassie and Ashanti are in the same boat. Neither one of them has a hit song they can count on that way. Ashanti got 3 songs you can name, and that's it. Yeah. Certainly songs that charted. You can't name but 3 of them. Yeah. And can you name one that she had all by herself? And if my heart can't take no more, you keep me running after you, whatever the hell it is. My days are long without you. Okay, you might be able to name one. But what you can't do is name an album. And what I'm saying is that's deadly in the modern era, because in the digital era, people don't buy albums anymore. They buy singles. They buy individual songs. And you're going to give a bunch of that to either Amazon or Spotify or whoever, Apple, iTunes. So even if you go buy her hit from 20 years ago, she ain't going to get half of it. She's going to get pennies on the dollar of that. So what she really doing is depending on the various men who are still nostalgic about her to pay her damn way. To say, hey, I'm hanging out with Ashanti. And there is a market for that, but it's limited and it's unpredictable. She needs to cash out. Yes. And she ain't trying to cash out with the old Murder Inc. crew. She went back to the Rolodex. Hey, Nelly, are you still single? Okay, well, what are you offering? Okay, I'll take it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because, people are naming like the Happy, Ooh, Baby, but those, like you said, 3 songs. And again, she had the team around her to make those songs a hit. Once Irv said, hey, you can go out there and recreate Happy, but you can't have none of the beats to go to this. You can't have none of the tracks that went to this original song. That's my work, right? She couldn't do it. So she was out there just doing her little thing, and that's cool. But I think that she caught that last train because she heard that noise, she heard that train blow, and she caught back onto it. It's been over 20 years since they've been a quote-unquote couple, and then they circle back around to each other. So, same old game. I think she locked in. Smart on her part, but,
it's smart on her part, but as a man, it's just sickening to me as a man, because you sit up here and you gain. As a black man, we gotta work 10 times harder than anybody else to get the same dollar they're getting, and it is insulting and it's revolting that you do all that work and then you're going to cash it in for retreads and middle age and run through, and it's okay. You bring in fresh new money value. Your money value you bring in is fresh and new, and you're still got to go through the damn discount bin. So you can get tens of millions of dollars in value, and you in the damn discount bin with Pookie and Ray Ray and the rest of them, living on nostalgia. At what point do we have standards as men and say, hey, wait a minute. I'm bringing brand new value. I'm bringing fresh out the gate value that is increasing every year. How the hell you gonna have me over here scrounging in the dumpster with everybody else and trying to sell me on some nostalgia on Instagram? That's the dumbasses who are sitting up here talking like that. That's okay for them because they're the freaking fans. It's okay for you to be a damn simp-ass idiot fan of Ashanti, talking about she look good when I'm sitting up here showing you these arms. You're a fan. You haven't accomplished anything. You haven't done anything. That's the level you moving at. The average chick next door, because you are a fella of average means, average looks, average accomplishment. Okay, it is what it is. But you're trying to imprint that and project that on people who are not average. And that's the insulting part of it. Ashanti waited until she became the average chick. That's my point. And what I'm saying is, okay, the yesterday's price is not today's price. Damn sure last century's price is not today's price. We're in a whole new century now. And we're giving her the same price? I'm sorry, actually, it's gone up.
I was going to say she got more. Yeah, she got a baby now.
Now she's become more. Yeah. Okay, before the baby, now she's more expensive? Now, 20 years later, with no explanation for she look good. There's a bunch of women out there who look good and ain't 43. With that many road miles on them. I'm not saying he can't have a relationship with her. I'm saying, by the way, if I were advising you about what requisite equal value is, what is her value at 43? And if you're telling me it's exactly the same, I'm like, okay, I don't think you're actually calculating anything. Because let me tell you something right here. And here's where the idiots trying to defend this as love show how stupid they are for about the 15th time. By the way, they should be tired of looking stupid, but they don't. So welcome to Barnum and Bailey. Do any of you think that Ashanti would be hollering at Nelly today if his catalog was worth $2 million?
No.
Do any of you think that Ashanti would be hollering at Nelly today trying to get pregnant and have his baby if his catalog was valued at $5 million? Lie.
I think it's a depend on that. Depend on how desperate the desperation.
Well, I mean, I guess since Dubai didn't work out, okay, maybe. Yeah, but let's be clear. She would not be doing that. She'd be like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm Ashanti. I'm pretty sure I can get a little bit more than $2 million. I think I can get a little bit more than that. She would not be hollering at him if that was the case. She's like, nigga, you worth as much as me. The only reason this conversation is happening is because, wait a minute, you're worth 10 times as much as me. In cash, not net worth, in income. 10 times as much. Okay. Last train leaving. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 323. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good evening, big brother Jason. This is Brother Elijah Pond of Wheaton, Maryland.
All right, Brother Elijah out of Wheaton, Maryland. What's on your mind?
I got a question because you keep bringing up the value between Nelly and Ashanti. Well, that leads to ask this question. Do you think with your personal expertise for the years you've been in the business game, do you think it was actually a good idea for Nelly to sell his catalog? And I heard you mention this in a older program that he sold his catalog for $50 million. To some people, I think it was on your other channel. He was talking about the catalog with Michael Jackson, and he sold his catalog for $50 million. Meanwhile, the people he's selling it knew that his catalog was worth way more than that. And then now we have a situation like this. Do you think he should have just held on to his catalog?
Very good question here. Remember, I've actually talked to people at the highest levels in the music business. And I'm talking about folks who go back decades, so they have comprehensive knowledge about this. Generally speaking, their attitude is they would sell their catalog if the value of the catalog had dropped. That's what they told me. Most of them were like, no, the performers were like, I wouldn't sell the catalog, but it was almost always with an exception. If the value of it drops. So if the value of your catalog is really just taking a precipitous dive, yeah, that could end up happening. Now, here's the other issue. Let's say you're talking about a Chris Brown or a Future or somebody like that, and maybe they signed a very disadvantageous deal to get into the business. They've been very ubiquitous. Look it up. They have been very frequent at releasing albums. But their music has been of so-so value. But they've been able to maintain themselves in the music business. But the problem is if you sign disadvantageous deals, then you're making those first few albums that you make, I mean, they're out there, but you're not going to get $50 million from it. Even after they revert back to you, you still won't get that. So if you sign that kind of deal, it may actually be in your interests to sell sell it. If going forward, if it's not going to do something miraculous, it may actually be in your interests to sell it.
Yes, sir.
So there are circumstances under which that could happen. There sure are. And I'm not just talking about for folks whose albums didn't do anything. I'm talking about if your albums did do something, but you have such little equity in it. Remember, Kanye West complained about his albums. Remember him all on Twitter. So if you've got such little equity in your albums, yeah, it might be worth it to you to, hey, if I keep it, I'm only going to get 20 million. When the albums revert, unless I can get like a major Hollywood movie to pick up a song or, a video game, Grand Theft Auto to pick up a song, there's really nothing that's going to spin that album's popularity back up again. Thriller is a phenomenal album because it stayed evergreen. But that's rare. Tupac stuff, some of the Death Row stuff, that's rare, man. That's ultra rare.
Yes,
There's a reason why your favorite artists still have to tour. They got to tour because the album sales don't really do it. Even after they revert. Anita Baker wanted her stuff back. Yeah, but Anita's still performing. By the way. So, like I say, it's just there are circumstances under which it does make sense. Or financially, it would make sense. Particularly if you stand to make more money from selling it than you would if you held it for whatever reason. Bad deal, the songs are no longer popular, music tastes have moved on. There is a scenario under which you would do that, yes. Now, whether they want to do it because this is your baby, this is your art, you own it, whether you want to is a different matter.
Yes, sir. Well, now that we have this situation with Nelly and Ashanti, well, he sells the thing. My question is this now, like, because I'm at a loss of words. I'm happy. If they're happy, I'm happy for them. Bravo. But my question is, though, the real question people should be asking, does Nelly have any significant value as far as getting a lot of women? I mean, the women that he would want. That's the real question.
No, I think that Nelly does get the women he can get. There's only a certain type of female that's going to get with a Nelly. This idea that all women are available to him is like, no. All women would take his money. But, yeah, he doesn't have all women available to him. And I'm not saying that to be demeaning or degrading. He is who he is, and he's been this person the whole time. It's not like he's becoming this dino. Like with 50 Cent, you've seen a change in who he is as a man over the course of the last 25 years. You've seen a change. You have not seen the same change in Nelly. take a look at the females that 50 Cent deals with. Take a look at what he values in them. There has been a change. Nelly is still fooling around with the same chicks he was 20 years ago. That's the reason why there's something to be said for a man being with younger females. I'm talking about real younger females, not middle-aged, quote, younger females. I mean, because, yeah, this isn't somebody you were talking to 20 years ago. These fellas are in their 50s, spinning the block on broads that they already ran through 20 years ago. And I'm like, dude, what makes you think anything's different now? And what you're really doing is you're going with what's familiar. You're going with what you're comfortable with. And in Ashanti's case, he doesn't even have that. It's just, oh, well, I never got you pregnant. It's just like, okay, the motives are bad. I don't wish ill on them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I got to be objective. And as a man, this is not what you do when you got $50 million of value. You don't spin the block back to somebody who didn't meet your standards 20 years ago. 10 years ago, 8 years ago. That's not what you do. So I'm like, what do you see today that you didn't see 8 years ago? What about her has changed from 8 years ago? Come on, that doesn't even make sense. It does over the course of 20 years. So, okay, so 8 years ago, okay, what about the previous 12? There's no way you're going to convince me that there's wisdom and critical thinking going on here. There is, well, I'm getting older and she's available and, well, folks like her on Instagram and, oh, well, I hadn't gotten her pregnant. And I submit to you, it's nostalgia is running the yard. These guys get chicks pregnant because they feel some kind of way, not because they think some kind of way, because they feel some kind of way. And that female knows if she can make him feel a certain way, he will be reckless and do what they always do. I'll let you have the last word.
One last question, big brother, and I'm gonna land my plane. You said something very deep though, about women. I think not the last caller, the caller before last, and you said something that hit home a little bit. You said women are more expensive in their 40s and 50s, yet they can't produce children anymore. Okay. And the cheapest women are the ones in their 20s. Please further expand on that, and I'll land my plane.
A female in her early 20s is looking to learn from the man that she's with. A female in her 40s has already been there and done that, and so she's not interested in. They're not new experiences to her. She's looking to, quote, get the best out of life. So because she's seen so much more by that point, she's demanding more. Now, whether she can get it is a different matter. Somebody in their early 20s, she's just learning. She's just exploring. She doesn't actually have hardcore demands because she's trying to get as much out of you as she can. An older female, they either do it by one of two ways. They either threaten you, to give me one big bag, or it's death by 1,000 cuts. So, okay, a female in her early 20s is not trying to go get her nails done every week, hair done every week, new pair of shoes every week. So an older female, she's either going to try to knock you out with a sledgehammer or she's going to try to bleed you slowly. And every time you turn around, she's bleeding you for some more. So you want to go to the mall. She never leaves without a bag. It used to be a chick in her 20s, y'all can go to the food court and then go home. An older chick ain't going to do that. Every time she sees you, you got to be dropping something off. You have to be giving something. There has to be value, not value exchange, but value subtracted. All of a sudden, she's telling you what you're supposed to be doing. And the items are always bigger ticket items. It's always more expensive. Oh, yeah. And you don't get to wait. So an older female, because she has lived as long as she has and been through as many relationships as she has, when she meets a man, now it's all about, okay, we need you. When you're the female in her early 20s, you can tell her, okay, this is where we're going to go on vacation. Let's try going here. An older chick is like, oh, yeah, I would like to go to Aspen. I want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to Toronto. You see the difference?
Yes, sir.
So a younger female is looking at you and saying, okay, what do you want to do? And she's following your lead. An older female is trying to tell you where we're going. That's the difference. So, and they get more demanding as they get older. A younger chick is happy that you would give her a gift. An older female, she's got staying, this is what it needs to be. And for example, who were the chicks talking about? The Cheesecake Factory was, you can't date me if you go to the Cheesecake Factory. That's the older females. That was not the younger ones.
Yes, sir.
That was the older ones. That was the older ones. Not the younger. And so with handbags, shoes, God help you if you marry her. Because now fellas who are in financial dire straits today is because they married a chick and next thing you know, she's telling you what neighborhood the house needs to be in. It's not good enough for her for you to have a nice apartment or a nice condo or whatever, or to buy a nice house. She wants to tell you where it is. Remember the cat that I was talking to who wife wanted him to get a place up there in DC? She telling him where it needs to be. And that's what happens.
Yes, sir.
So you can't just go get a car now. She wants to tell you what the car needs to be. Now, she ain't going to chip in their dime, but she's there to tell you what the car needs to be. She has no concern about the interest rate or whatever. Everything is about extracting value from you. So older females come in more entitled. There's the word. They are entitled as hell because remember when I taught you all unspoken female assumptions. Women feel that if she gets with a new man, you need to take up where the last man left off at. So if she was with the last man for 8 years, and at the end of that 8 years, that man had her driving a Porsche, when she gets with you, she thinks she's supposed to be driving a Porsche within 90 days. On account of the fact that she was driving one with the last guy she was with. She is disregarding that it took 8 years for him to get to that point. When she meets you, you got to give me faith and credit for the 8 years I was with that last guy. Yeah, I know I've only known you for 8 weeks. You have to give me full faith and credit for what he got. It took him 8 years. Yeah, you don't get 8 years. You get 8 weeks. You got to drop it off now. So that's what I mean by more expensive.
Yes,
a chick in her 20s ain't going to do that. Especially a chick in her early 20s, she's not going to be so silly to do that. A chick in her 40s, she's like, oh, you on the clock. So women, as they get older, like I say, their tastes are different. They're going straight to the Chanel store. They're going straight to the Fendi store. They're going straight to the high ticket items. That's what an older chick is. Even her vocabulary, she doesn't even talk to you about cheap things, inexpensive things. Her whole vocabulary is about extracting value. So by definition, they are always more expensive. The vacation that you go on with a 20-year-old and just hang out at the beach, the older one ain't trying to have that. She'll do that with your ass one time, but after that, she's like, okay, we got to do better than that now, right? And if you don't, she starts applying the pressure, either severe or subtle, to let you know, I ain't digging that.
But brother, can I ask you a quick question? Do we really have simps out here that would waste their time with nonsense like that from these older women? Is it really that serious? Because the last I checked, you older, you can't produce children for me. You ain't going to be telling me nothing. Just stay in your lane, respectfully, stay in your lane. I got this, all right?
Okay.
You have guys that would literally put up with that crap.
Okay, here's the problem with what you just said. As men, and this is as time here, fellas, it's time to update your files.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
It's time to update your files, fellas. This idea, it is time to kill this idea that if a woman can have children, then she's somehow producing value. We need to kill that idea. This ain't gonna work, fellas. No. That somehow she is, putting the value of her drawers in retrograde because she's still on her cycle. As men, that's not the damn way it works. That's not the standard we can use. I'm hurting a lot of females' feelings tonight. That's not the metric we need to be using. That, oh, well, she's 50 years old, but she got 3 raggedy ass eggs still up in there. No, women don't think of us that way. Now, this is the part that kills me about all this. By the way, women don't see us that way. They don't see us that way. They don't treat us that way. Yes, so finding some old chick to drop some kids off, I'm like, okay, this doesn't even make sense, man. This doesn't even make sense. She 43 years old. She gonna be 63 by the time that kid is grown. Y'all gonna be going to PTA meetings in your damn late 50s. In Nelly's case, he gonna be 60. This makes no damn sense. There's not going to be nothing. The last few vestiges, Photoshop ain't going to be able to clean her up by the time she's 50. And yet you're going to be paying not the same price, a higher price than you ever have. That's the issue. We have males with not just deficient thinking, but backward ass thinking. Illogical, irrational ass thinking. Well, if she can still have a kid, does that redeem her value back to her 20s? Hell no! It's still a bad deal. Yes, it's still a bad deal. Even if the child comes out completely healthy, this is still a bad deal. Okay, let me try this a different way. And hell yeah, we need to put... Stephanie called up in here tonight. And I love you in San Diego, but don't get mad at me later. But... bottom line is, she's sitting up here putting the dollar value on a man's value. Okay, but we ain't doing that. Men need to stop being simps and stupid. Women put a dollar cash money value on us. Every time some heifer gets online and lies, every time some heifer gets on, did he call us heifers? I sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
Every time a heifer gets online and lies and start talking about a man's character and personality and he's nice, then when you ask him, okay, what's he nice at? Well, he spends money on me. First thing they start doing is talking about vacations and gifts. They don't say a damn word about his personality. It's about, by the way, this is what he do for me. Women put a dollar value on us. The men are out here damn me freestyling, talking about intrinsic value. Then you can't figure out why you got a red pill, a black pill, a dead pill, and every damn thing else. We ain't playing by the same rules, except the smart men are. Let me explain to you exactly what I mean. I've explained this before, but y'all need to understand these are the rules. And if the rest of the red pill community and the manosphere and the rest of them don't talk to y'all about this because they don't know it and they don't live it. You're supposed to be treating everything with value like the stock market. Do you purchase at the top of the market or do you purchase at the bottom of the market? Elijah.
You purchase at the bottom of the market, big brother.
Because that's the only way you can get value. You don't purchase an asset that's falling off a cliff of depreciation. I've talked about this before. You purchase an asset that is undervalued. Ladies, fellas, why am I sitting up here beating the drum about this younger females, older females things, about the difference in value? A 43-year-old chick is not at the peak of her value anymore. She's not undervalued. At best, she is properly priced, but she's not undervalued. And a man can spend money on a properly priced item, but he can't invest in it. You can only invest in something that will appreciate in value. Properly priced and overpriced are all gonna fall. Undervalued is gonna go up. You don't get an overpriced partner pregnant. You don't make a permanent commitment to overpriced. If you're going to be investing
Yes, sir.
20 years of genetics in your bloodline, you're supposed to be betting in and getting appreciating value. You're betting all your chips on something that's dropping in value by the damn day. Now, you aren't. You're going up in value. But you put all your chips on something that's going down in value. With them gaslighting you, telling you getting a great deal. No, you're supposed to purchase at the bottom of the market. A fool and a desperate, lonely-ass sapsucker simp sits up here and buys at the top of the market. And right now, is there any jackass on dope, well, there's plenty of them in the comment section apparently, who thinks that Ashanti is going to be more valuable at 53 than she is at 43? You know the only folks who think that? Dead-ass, dumb, broke-ass simp fans. Fanboys. Fellas who can't afford a minute of that woman's time. And she wouldn't spit on them if they were on fire. Those are the only folks talking about, she look good. I'd be with that. And the nigga ain't gonna pay nothing for her. He's not competing with Nelly for her. He's just, I would lay up with it. Nigga, you'd lay up with anything. You would lay up with anything. You ain't sitting up here competing with Nelly to improve or upgrade or enhance her lifestyle. All you doing is saying, boy, if I tripped and slipped and fell into bed with her, I sure wouldn't turn it down. You also wouldn't go get her a house or a wedding ring. You wouldn't do that either. The bottom line is that Ashanti is you're buying past the top of the market. The asset is a falling knife. The asset is going down. It's going down. And if you're going to invest 20 years of your ongoing and be legally obligated, shouldn't it be to something that is increasing in value? And that's not ever going to happen here. Ever. I'm just giving you math. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. If a man is going to make a long-term investment, he's supposed to be buying at the bottom of the market. LeBron James bought in at the bottom of the market. Smart men buy in at the bottom of the market. They don't buy in at the top. This is how they end up in sexless marriages. Is there anybody here who thinks that Ashanti gonna be XXX rated at 48 years? Is she XXX rated now? How many of you think she gonna be doing that at 48 and 50? Stop the bull jive. You can spend money on a properly priced item, but you don't long-term invest at the bottom of a damn market. She may be nice people, she might be salt of the earth people, though I have my reservations about that, but let's just assume that she is. Okay, but what you cannot say is that she's at the top of her market. I'm sorry, that she is undervalued. Nobody can say that Ashanti is undervalued. And that it's only up from here. Now that you can't say. You could say that 20 years ago. You can't say that 20 days ago. Caller Miracle 503, you're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller Miracle 503, last try. You're on live. Caller from Miracle 503 has been abducted. Caller from Miracle 321, you're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Mike from Orlando.
All right, Mike from Orlando. What's on your mind?
How you doing? Have you seen every song that Ashanti's done has been a remix? They don't own the actual masters to that. You know what I mean? So that's why she's not getting no masters to that, because like you had the one song with Nas, and then you had the one song with when she did Baby. That's Scarface getting all the masters off that. You know what I mean? So
well, I mean, she's certainly not getting the lion's share of anything. Although the real question is, did she ever get that? And obviously, it appears that that's never been the case. She spent 20 years living off of dudes telling her that she's cute. But in reality, she wasn't able to really parlay it into anything. Dudes been laying on her for 20 years, but nobody's really investing. And she's not able to make it pop off for herself. So as far as generating value on her own, that's not the case.
Irv Gotti, you remember Irv Gotti said he slept with her and did all that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and Tinder
and
booty.
Then you gotta sit there and
Tinder booty people
around.
wanted to pretend that they were upset about that. That's the crazy part.
What happened?
The Tinder booties wanted to act like they were upset about that. It's like, okay, so the females get to sit up here and be Corinne Steffens and talk, but the men supposed to be quiet? It's like, okay, wow. Double standards ahoy. But the bottom line is, look, she had 20 years of this. She wanted to play the field. Okay, when you play, you pay.
Besides remixes.
Well, like I said, nobody ever said she was a songwriter. So if you got a record deal based on being cute and thick back in 2001, just understand there was a bunch of chicks who were cute and thick. Ain't that right, Cassie? Ain't that right, Adina Howard? Ain't that right? Well, y'all know we could be here all day naming one-hit wonders. We all know that's the way that works. There's a bunch of little cute, thick chicks who got record deals because they was cute and thick. Paula Abdul. We can go down the list. A bunch of them. But were they truly talented? And what I'm saying is that once you take a look over the threshold of time, you don't see that. You just see, okay, she was cute and thick. I can see how you got your record deal. And then after that, it's over.
Exactly. And like what you're saying is like, so there's so much percentages that's going out to anybody else, and everybody else on the remixes, she ain't making no money on that.
I mean, I would argue about ever making any money at all. So she can show up at places. She can be cute. I've never seen her be a great singer. You know, like I say, she's showing up at some little R&B shows and stuff. I think she did one in New York here a few weeks ago. I'm not downing any of that, but what I am saying is that it's obvious the requisite value, that's the issue there. Being able to get residuals and mechanicals and things, that's not really what she's getting. She isn't. And that's why for the last decade she's been trying to secure a sponsor, because folks, idiots and clowns out there think that having 5 million followers on Instagram translates to money, and it doesn't. That's the problem.
And it doesn't at all.
After all these years, folks still don't get that.
And it's like Ice Cube says, you know what I'm saying? She had to get a picture because she couldn't make it on her own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's what nostalgia does. Nostalgia makes you sit here and say stupid stuff, and you ignore reality and ignore math, and you just assume, well, they got a bunch of followers on Instagram. It's like, man, that's not the way that works. All the chicks on OnlyFans, they got 1 million followers on Instagram and making $40,000 a year. $80,000 a year if they're lucky.
Yeah.
Beauty doesn't have a value if ain't nobody paying. Folks sit up here and assume that beauty has a value. Beauty doesn't have a value if ain't nobody paying. And it's even harder for somebody like Ashanti, because in her case, she got an image she's trying to uphold. So she's 43 and expensive on account of the fact that she has an image to uphold. She needs people to believe that she's been balling out on Murder Inc. ever since. So, yeah, she got to scramble and nail down Nelly, because other than that, she can't even really show you nothing.
Yeah. And then, and then she was like trying to put the claws in him so he can't get nobody else. And he might have messed up his game and all that stuff, but like I was saying, she doesn't have a hit. Everything else is remade, and the original producers are getting the money off of it, and then you got Murder Inc. getting the money off of it, and she's getting the crumbs off of it.
Well, look, here's my position. My position is not that Nelly can't get with her or shouldn't get with her. Nelly, get with anybody you want to. I'm talking to the rest of the male population.
Yeah, you can.
Marrying her, getting her pregnant, that's overpaying. That's overpaying. Yeah. That is grossly beyond her value. Marrying her and getting her pregnant, this is a gross overvaluation. And a man should never be so desperate, so lonely, so mentally, emotionally down and out that he starts overpaying. And I know the society piles on the pressure if you do that, but that's part of being a man, is to tell them, hell no, I'll pay, but I won't overpay. She can be a good look from time to time. She has a name for herself. She is readily identifiable. There is a value and there is a price for that. Marriage and a baby, however, ain't it.
Security on his end?
Okay, marriage and a baby is not the price.
Said he was insecure. He was insecure.
Well, I mean, that was a decade ago. But then again, he most likely still is where she's concerned. I just think that Nelly's gotten older. The kids are getting grown now, the ones who aren't grown, because I think some of them actually are. And I think that after all this time here, he's just like, he don't want to be alone. There are a lot of fellas out here right now, they gonna get took because females can see that you are not okay being by yourself. You can't sleep. You can't be all right without a female around. You got to have one. And we're going to see a bunch of old niggas get their pockets run and everything else because it's so obvious that they just can't, they're afraid of being alone and they cannot function without having ready-made sexual access to a female. And a bunch of these chicks gonna run them. Ain't that right, Tia Mowry? Whole bunch of these fellas gonna get broke sideways because as they're getting older, they're demonstrating that. I'm just letting y'all know something. In Nelly's case, dude, you got kids already. Why do you need more? You've been there. You done that. What do you need more for? What is it you're deficient about that you think you need more? I think part of the issue is that men who getting money was easy for them, they can have money for so long that they start taking it for granted. They can have money for so long that the money loses its value to them. They can become so financially stable or so financially solidified that the money starts losing its value. And the people around you can see that's the time you own. That's the time you're on. Okay, let's explain about this younger thing. Here's the issue with the younger thing. Let's just say if Nelly was dating Lotto. What? Oh, I said it. Let's just say if Nelly was dating Lotto or if Nelly was talking to Halle Bailey or whatever. Damn! Well, this would be a whole different dynamic. He's touring, he's doing his thing. She's touring, she's doing her thing. He's hot, she hot. She has a runway in front of her, not a runway behind her. I'm just saying some names you all will recognize. But my point is, if you're going to invest the next 20 years, shouldn't you be investing it with somebody who's got a runway in front of them? Not somebody who already went down their runway behind them. You want to talk about a power couple. A power couple are two people who, even as individuals, they are appreciating in value. Show me where Ashanti as an individual is appreciating in value. Hell, you can't even show me where she's got ownership of her music. And this is how men today as a group, as a society, are getting gaslighted. We're being told, get your ass out there, work yourself into a coronary, gain extraordinary value, and then go grab you an average chick. Go grab you an average female that every other man has got his fingerprints on. Grab some chick who she's past her prime and she's on the downside of her career and everything else. She's on the downside of her value. Don't get something that's going to be more valuable in 10 years from now. You just be happy for whatever you get. That's what we get told. That's what we get told. That's what we get bludgeoned and beaten with. Well, you know who don't do that? Women, damn it. Women don't do that. When women see that you are past your prime and you're on your way down, you sitting up, come to them talking about, hey, but baby, I love you. She like, nigga, please. This is what the hell I'm talking about. You fellas talking about love and you feel good for them in the comment section and whatnot. You're brain dead dumbasses. I wish your mama hadn't been smoking so many drugs while you were children. You wouldn't be in my comment section making straight asses of yourself today. Women don't treat us that way as men. They don't. If you pass your prime, she tells you, well, nigga, come back if you can get your mojo back. Women don't grab you when you are obviously free falling. Women do not grab a man when he is obviously crashing. Y'all remember that fella who was on the Cosby Show or a Different World, whatever, and bagging groceries? Women wasn't checking for him. They were checking for Jeremy Meeks. He on his way up. They ain't checking for you on your way down. Never. Women don't give us that kind of leeway. They don't give us that judgment. We don't get a love metric. They sit up here and tell us, hey, you producing or I ain't got no use for you. You on the downside of your career, that's it. That's why in the music business, in the entertainment business, you don't want to be a washed up dude. You don't want to be somebody who used to be famous. You used to be hot. If you used to be hot, you alone. Women are constantly checking your temperature to see how hot you are. And if you don't make the grade, she ain't spotting you. Well, you used to be something. Damn all that. Women don't grade us that way. They never have. Women only want to buy if you are undervalued. Or should I say they only want to accept the offer if the stock is stable. She'll take it if the stock is going up. She'll take it if the stock is holding strong. If the stock starts dropping, the women start bailing out. Let's stop talking silly and irrational. When a man's value starts dropping, here comes a 55% divorce rate. As soon as your value starts plummeting, women start looking for the exits. This is why the reason you have a red pill community today is because you had so many men who have gotten married, and what was their complaint? Well, I got married to her, and while I was making good money, everything was okay. I had a couple of rocky years, and she started telling me I wasn't good enough anymore. Well, why did the fellas sit where they were? Because what you all believe was, well, I gave her 10 years of a completely great, stable, upper middle class life. Everything was fine. So if I was willing to put in 10 years worth of effort, then she can at least give me 2 years worth of patience. What? Now that's what men think. You think that you've been storing up some sort of emotional value in this invisible bank of love. That's what you think. Jay Ricochet, if you think I'm yelling it, I'm doing it because ain't nobody telling it. Tell your mama I'm screaming. You think that you are accumulating value in some invisible bank of love where, okay, I've been depositing in this bank now with her. I've been depositing in her bank for 10 years. So now I need to withdraw 2 years of patience. I've been steadily, faithfully putting in value for 10 years. Now I'm going to tell her, okay, I'm here to withdraw from that invisible bank of deposits I've been making. I'm here to make a withdrawal. And every fella in here who's found themselves divorced or anything else, that's what the hell happened to them. That's what happened. They sat up here and said, oh, well, they'll tolerate that. She'll wait. You know, we're just having a little bit of a dry spell right now. We're having a little bit of a dry spell, but don't worry, it'll come together. It'll come together. You sitting up here trying to make your deposits, thinking that that's actually a real thing. And then you find out it's not. Women don't give us that kind of leeway. They don't give us that kind of leeway. That's the thing I'm telling you is that, wait a minute, if they're not giving us that kind of leeway, what the hell are you doing, man? What the hell are you doing when nobody's giving you that kind of leeway? Women don't even count or think in that way. If your stock isn't going up, she's leaving. If your stock is going down, she's leaving. She's leaving. That's the issue. I'm just telling the men, hey, wait a minute. Have you figured out what it is that you're doing to sabotage yourself? Have you figured that out? Have you figured out what it is you're doing to sabotage yourself? You're overvaluing, you're overpaying, and that's Ashanti's game. That's Ciara's prayer and Ashanti's game. Let me find some ridiculous, ignorant, dried out dumbass out here who's dehydrated and thirsty, and he will overpay. Women are routine. When women say, I know my worth, what they're saying is, I don't have to overpay. That's the point I'm trying to make to the men. Women don't overpay like that. Okay, a female in Ashanti's position would not be grabbing a 50-year-old Nelly who can only sell 5,000 albums a year. Can't happen. When a woman says she knows her worth, what she's saying is, by the way, I'm here to get what I can get. But what she's not doing is giving you a chance to justify that. She's putting you on notice. Hey, this is what I need to be getting. And what I'm saying is, hey, fellas, wow, you think that's going to turn out well? How does that turn out well? No, if this is going to be a stock market, damn it, it's going to be a stock market. If this is going to be a stock market, it's going to be a stock market. Seconds. Men are out here overpaying. And it's reached an absolutely catastrophic level. Fellas are out here now trying to get millions of dollars, and they're so desperate for companionship that they're overpaying. Ridiculously overpaying. And I'm here to tell you, the rest of society is telling you, ooh, you're a good man. Now, ain't that the craziest part about it? They're telling you that what makes you a good man is overpaying. You got a chick with 5 kids by 8 different niggas. She's ragged out, this, that, and the other. Okay, well, let me bring you to an upper middle class lifestyle. That's overpaying, dude. She 40-something years old. Yeah, but I met her 20 years ago. Bro, that's overpaying. Now you're trying to send the message to the rest of these fellas that that's what they should be doing. Okay, here's the problem. A bunch of you AI girlfriend dudes out here, the problem is you're going to overpay, but you won't be getting an Ashanti when you do. You're going to be getting the chick down there at Circle K. That's what you're going to be getting. But you're not going to be getting an Ashanti when you do. You're getting a chick with double chins and cankles and cellulite and baby stretch marks, but you ain't getting no Ashanti from 2002. And what I'm saying is, wait, hold on a minute. Fellas, why do you think it is that females in their 40s, you sitting up here making $300,000 a year and she subjects you to a sexless marriage? Why do you think that routinely happens, guys? That's not the exception. That's the rule. She gets in her 40s and all of a sudden, okay, well, we ain't worried about sex no more. You just get by having. Why do you think that is? You done bought this big ass house. You done bought expensive cars, and she's doing less than she's ever done. Why do you think that routinely happens? Because she's been getting laid on top of for the last 25 years. She's jaded. She's carrying a grudge. She wants to extract benefits, and you're the designated target. If she thinks you're desperate. Nelly was doing good like he was. She was over there. She's being a model citizen. He's not obligated to anything. If she want to act a fool, he can get up and leave. Now he's set up here and sold off his masters. He's going to make her legally liable, legally a beneficiary of everything. And for what? What is he getting that is equal in value to that? Ashanti was going to be okay being his girlfriend / companion for the rest of her damn days. She was going to be right there. He let himself get pressured, and now he's overpaid. Because here's the crazy part. If we look up here in 5 years and Ashanti decides to pull us an Ashanti, now what? The folks who are in my comment section, none of them are going to be coming back apologizing. None of them came back and apologized about Lala Anthony. All the gutless, feckless, no good, trash ass liars who sat on my program and in my comment section 4 years ago, none of them have come back to apologize to Lala Anthony and tell her, I'm sorry for being an ignorant, naked, lying ass who told you that you could do better than Carmelo. I'm so sorry I misled you and fooled you like that. None of them are over there on Tia Mowry's page telling her that. None of them. They've all gotten hidden like Homer Simpson backing into the bush. None of them are going back to Lala and apologizing to her for lying to her like they did. They talked her into it. They lied their asses off. She's sitting there with no husband, and these bastards are sitting on Facebook talking about video games. But they're not back on her page, following up on their comments, apologizing to her. While she's sitting there booed up with her son at a basketball game, and it is so obvious what you're looking at. It's so obvious that she's projecting the energy that she used to on her husband onto her son. And none of them are coming back and apologizing to her for talking her into that and encouraging her to do that. They're not going back to Tia Mowry and doing that. They're not going back to Megan Good and doing that. They never do. Yes, they are a bunch of sick individuals, and unfortunately you have a society of them. They are sick and deranged, sick to their core, and they're lying all the damn time. And none of them are going to come back and apologize to Nelly. None of them are going to come back and apologize to him. Although, can we just be honest? Ladies, can we just be honest for just a moment? The females are actually happy to see this. What? Oh, I'm saying it. Oh, ladies, can we just be honest? Y'all don't give a damn about Nelly. Just like Ciara, y'all are on Ciara's team. Y'all are not looking out for Russell Wilson. Y'all don't give a damn if Russell Wilson stays married to her the rest of his life or if they get divorced tomorrow, because as far as you're concerned, today you'll be saying they make a good couple. Tomorrow you'll be saying, that's right, Ciara, take half. You was there while his career was crashing and burning. Take half. That's what you'll be saying. You won't be saying, Ciara, Russell picked your ass up after Future ran you through the damn mud. You shouldn't be trying to sit up here and run this dude's pockets. If they get divorced, the females are going to come back talking about, that's right, Ciara girl, you get every dime you can. They will not, even if she files for divorce and just says, well, he was boring. These same females will come back and say, oh, well, he shouldn't have been boring. Nobody should make you stick with her if he's boring. Truth be told, most of the females want these guys to fail. They want them behind the 8 ball. They're not happy for Nelly and Ashanti. They're happy for Ashanti having secured the bag, and they're happy to hear that she's got a safety net, because every female out here, for the most part, shout out Stephanie, is saying, hey, I wish I had me a net like that too. I wish I had me a dude who he's going to financially be my safety net, but I don't have to actually contribute anything to him. He takes all the risk and I get to suck up all the rewards. Fellas, have y'all realized that that's why the females are really promoting this and cheering for this? They're not cheering for Nelly and Ashanti. The women are just cheering for Ashanti. They don't care how badly Nelly gets devastated by this. They're cheering for her. And if she devastates him, they'll be cheering for her even more. Damn! Truth be told, they'll be cheering for her even more. That's literally what it will be if she divorces him and pulls a Jeannie Mai. Don't want him to see the kid. The females will be back, and they'll be back in Ashanti. Then they'll be talking about, girl, you never should have married him in the first place. Today they're talking about they're happy for him. In 5 years they'll be, you never should have married him in the first place. He was a dog. He was this, that, and the other. That's what they'll be saying then. I want the men to understand what Ashanti's game is. Folks been talking about Ciara's prayer. I'm talking about Ashanti's game. I want you to understand what it is. This is not so that you hate women. When I was talking to Stephanie here earlier, it's not about hating women. I was able to talk to her just fine, because I'm saying your job is to understand women. Understand that what they tell you is what they want you to hear. I'm telling you, don't ever listen to what they want you to hear. Take a look at what's right in front of you. Just take a look at what is right in front of you. Stop looking at the world with rose-colored glasses. Don't look at the world of nostalgia that there's some ideal you're going to latch on to. See her for what she is. Accept reality for what it is. And just recognize that this is who this chick is. Stop sitting up here being delusional and idealistic, and just accept her for who she is. Y'all know that's the crazy damn part about it. Here's the crazy part about it. These fellas have absolutely no problem accepting that type of relationship with these women after they finish running his ass through the damn ringer. That's the crazy part. After they run through the ringer, all of a sudden, okay, now they can keep their distance. Corey Hardrick can keep his distance now. All these other dudes, they can keep their distance now. Now they can do that now that it's too late. Okay. Well, why couldn't you do that beforehand? I'm comfortable doing that. They got to give them some traumatic psychological bruising before they're okay being like, you know what? We're good enough. We're good enough where we are. We're good enough where we are. What's my prognosis? My prognosis is simple. Ashanti is obviously very angry. She's obviously very self-centered. She's interested in becoming a mother. She's not nearly as stoked about becoming a wife. And the guy that she's chosen, she's not happy with that because he's the only one who was available. The others turned it down. The math isn't very encouraging. I don't wish them ill. I don't know them to wish them anything. All I'm saying is, by the way, the math isn't very encouraging. I haven't seen anything that convinces me that she's a different woman today than she was 20 years ago, except now she's more desperate for a bailout. And now she's found somebody who she feels he owes her 2 decades. Ashanti feels that Nelly owes her 2 decades. And now she is back to extract it from his ass. And if you think that if things go south, if you think this is going to go nice and quiet, man, you got another thing coming. She's like, I'm going to drag his ass. He sat up here and strung me along for 2 decades. Actually, baby, you strung yourself along. Oh, well, I ain't going to blame me. Let's just blame him. 2 decades? Oh, nigga, I'm dragging you. And I'm going to get half. Okay. Believe whatever you want to. None of these people will be back apologizing if it goes south. None of them will. Hell, they'll be busy cheering on the next sucker. But what they won't do is come back and apologize and say, Nelly, yeah, we shouldn't have encouraged you to do that. All the warning signs were there. Now you're messed up in the game. They won't come back and apologize to any of these people. That's really a sick thing of you, isn't it? If you're a person and you're egging this on and you can see the obvious problems and you still sitting there egging them on, boy, you really hate men. Fellas, I want you to recognize all this gaslighting is for the purposes of the average, not average fella, but the non-celebrity males who actually got some money and some status and some accomplishments going for yourselves. All this gaslighting is for you. This is to convince you to raise your prices and lower your standards. Raise what you will pay, but lower what you will accept. All of this is intended to pressure us out here in society, us, the men out here in society, to be comfortable paying more and getting less. That's what all of this is for. To convince you to pay much more and accept much less. And there will be more men who accept it because most of them were desperate to begin with. Hopefully that won't be your story. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Venmo, Andrew, and everybody else here. Thank you very much for your support tonight. We appreciate that. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our Patreon, the link is in the description. Let's go ahead and cover that tomorrow here. Some of the stuff I didn't get to talk about here tonight, let me go ahead and cover that tomorrow. You are welcome to join us there as well. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program. Thank you for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.